the revolutionary yourself, Darius Lockhart, and I'm here to tell you to watch Powerbombshells every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on the Fight Game Media YouTube channel. That's right, every Sunday at 1 p.m., and that's on time, every time, because when we stand together, what time is it? That's right, it's nation time.
Welcome to Powerbombshells 222. I'm Mel. That's Sam. We're just two rods talking about the wrestling we watch. I love that Darius says that we're on time. We're on wizard time.
Exactly. He doesn't have to specify.
If
Darius says we're on time,
then we're on time. He knows.
Yeah. If Darius
He's on intergalactic time.
He is on. Yes, because he is. That is correct.
See, it's perfect. That's why it makes me chuckle every single time.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
We love hanging out with you guys.
Yes, thank you for being here.
Daza, you popped me pretty hard with that Powerbomb shells bombing line. I'm not gonna lie.
That was pretty
He said it earlier back in the comments before we went on, and I just laughed out loud.
Yes.
This is it.
You know, if we're not for Brian Alvarez, I'm not going to lose any sleep over.
Oh my gosh! Holy cow! Let me fall over.
That dude hates everything, so I guess we're in good company because he doesn't like anything. I can't tell if it's a bit because it's rage bait and it gets people to click.
It absolutely is,
and at least it helps our friend Josiah get paid because Josiah does collision coverage for the.
And I think Jeff Hawkins still does.
Yeah,
the
so
boards.
if it gets them paid, good for them. But I am not going to be participating in it because
I don't even know what that's about, but it was funny.
It's annoying, and so I think if that's if it works for you and gets you money, I guess as Jeff Hawkins says, get paid. But I'm not going to be part of it.
I don't even know what that's fully in reference to, but I know that they've been doing their gimmick because part of why I had to sort of tune them out is because their gimmick got old. Their whole
it is old. Even though I did see Meltzer quote.
No, but it's Irish. It's from Ireland, which is not the same at all.
No. But the other day, Meltzer quote tweeted something that from Wrestling Observer, and he was basically hating on Alvarez in the quote tweet, which was really funny. I was like, oh, he's calling out Brian Alvarez in a quote tweet of the clip from their show.
I guess I need to see this.
You don't. It's the same.
Right.
It's the same shit. He's mad that there was no interference in a anything goes street fight. And then he was mad that there wasn't interference in another match. But then when there was interference in the women's match, he was mad about that.
Of course he was.
It's all rage bait to get traction, and it's working. I mean, I know some people are turning it off because they're tired of it. They're unsubscribed. Like I saw somebody yesterday was like, I straight up unsubscribe because I can't deal with this. But for the people who are still there, it seems to be working. Or people are quote tweeting it and they're interacting with it. So, I mean... Again, if it's helping Josiah and Jeff Hawkins make money, then
we know a few people that actually functionally work over there. So get paid, brothers. I mean, Paul, I think, does the UFC previews now because he's Daza
wants to know who gets Paul Fontaine in the divorce. I'm assuming Jeff Hawkins.
I was just gonna say Fight Game Media actually.
Yeah, right.
Because we saw him first.
We get first dibs.
we saw him first. Garrett, back me up on this. Literally, it's so if I could just listen to Garrett's show on Friday and Jim Valley's show on Saturday, I'd be the world's happiest human.
Oh,
but
I bet.
I can't subscribe to just a la carte Wrestling Observers, so here I am.
Right.
So I have to get my answers to my questions secondhand, but at least, I know that Tony's doing his best to try and give us our pay-per-view, but I also know the politics of the city go, so.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? If you do it in a fun way that you don't get, it's, the internet works itself into a shoot, and then it becomes a problem. So.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's part of the reason I haven't.
See it. I only see that stuff when it's because they're participating in the rage baiting. Yeah, they're participating in the rage baiting, and then that's how I see it. I don't.
I guess I have a really well curated
for it because I don't care. And I was like, I don't. I do care about some of the comments he's made about. There are some things I care about what they say, but most of the time, I mean, it's Brian. It's just Brian. It's his gimmick now, and so that's what do you expect for him? Like, that's what he does, because now you're talking about him all the time, and we're talking about him, so it's working.
It's funny for the jokes. I'm here for the dank memes. I'm shit posting dank memes are my bigger. I guess I do a good job curating my feeds enough. I know you, unfortunately, because you write in the Sphere, also get the commentators on yours, whereas I'm pretty low key. I'm I'm the chick with the hat. I'm the broad with the hat, so I get a little less. Like, the hat keeps me safe, I guess.
Apparently that's what I need. That's a hat.
I engage when it makes me laugh, because I largely am like, don't feed the trolls. There's only one troll on this planet that I intend to feed, and that is Bob the Troll, because he's the nicest troll, and he makes live and actual art. So, only troll worth feeding in my world.
He has not been cleared of anything. I don't know where people on the internet don't know what they're talking about, because there is either, I will tell you that there is a crisis management firm that deploys bots anytime, and WWE, Tony has even called this out for years, that they use bots, and that's probably what a lot of this is driving the conversation. We were actually going to talk about this a little bit, so we'll just talk about it now. He has not been cleared of anything. They settled. So going back to the shareholders lawsuit that was supposed to happen actually 2 months ago yesterday, they were days away from going to trial, and the judge sanctioned Vince McMahon and Nick Khan basically for destroying evidence. They were supposed to keep every single message they were getting, and they can see, because, people aren't stupid, they could see the signal chat times being changed so that things would automatically delete. So they were not preserving evidence that they were supposed to be preserving. And the judge called them out on it and sanctioned them for it. And he sanctioned them for a couple other things. And he was like, it's up to you to prove to me that you didn't do those things. And within days of that, they settled. That's because they got caught doing things. And if they had gone to trial, Vince McMahon was scheduled to testify. So was Nick Khan and Mark Shapiro, who was also, he's the VP.
And Ari Emanuel.
And Ari Emanuel was supposed to.
And
George
there.
They were going to read testimony from certain people. Potentially, they were going to be reading depositions from Stephanie McMahon and Paul Levesque. So they didn't want any of that, because as you have seen from Janelle Grant, what she has been posting on her Instagram, has been posting some of those depositions for that case, and some of the stuff that's come out in those depositions corroborated what she's been saying. And so as soon as they got the shareholders to agree to a settlement, they set their sights on trying to get Janelle to settle. And so now it has been moved out of the public eye. We don't know what's happening. So we can't, it's hard to say. So he's not been, there were no criminal charges, first of all. This was a civil lawsuit. So there was never going to be, it wasn't, unless the federal, unless the DOJ, that's because the DOJ was investigating him. They've kind of put that on the back burner, probably because of who's in office. But from my understanding, they can potentially pick that back up. But I'm not 100% sure on that. But from my understanding, once Trump is no longer in office, they have the potential, the DOJ has the potential to reopen whatever it is.
They can, because of dysfunctional DOJ. Let me try and say that again. A dysfunctional DOJ in a future administration could be ruled upon by everybody, because law is based on precedent, that because those people did all the things they did illegally, it renders literally everything they've ever done with a swipe of a pen or with politicking illegal. And I mean, they're doing that stuff.
Vince McMahon's phone for like 2 years, which is how all of this, this is how it got this far.
And they came to Janelle's team, the FBI, and asked them to suspend their civil lawsuit because they were continuing a federal internal investigation. We don't know that there won't be a Vice or RICO or some kind of the trafficking may not come up in a place that's more just in a future timeline
Right.
from where we are right now. But all that happened here in both suits was that civil suits that were in court, and civil isn't criminal, like Sam said, went to arbitration, which
Right.
means that instead of going to court and airing all these rich people's dirty laundry,
Right.
they opted to go, we'll give you a whole bunch of money and sign a whole bunch of non-disclosure agreements,
But
and
as
we'll
far
make
as
it all
we
go
know,
away.
but we don't know what has happened. They have just moved it out of the public eye.
Right,
We don't know
right.
that anything has been
Well,
signed.
and that's the problem with
They-
arbitration, right?
right.
Because it
We
goes
don't-
behind a closed door and it's no
Right.
longer a public case anymore.
Right. So we don't know if anything's been signed. We don't know if she has been forced to sign an NDA. We don't.
I'm not
know
talking
if,
on her behalf. I'm
no, I'm
talking
just saying,
about
and
the
we don't know.
shareholders.
We don't know if she has agreed to anything. We don't know if they've agreed to anything. We don't know
Right.
because
No,
it's
we don't
behind
know
closed
anything.
doors. So everything is just speculation at this point. Yeah. And also, so I will say, so I wrote an article about it a couple of days ago. We do know a little bit more about the shareholders lawsuit and it going, because it did, they did settle. They had to wait for a judge's approval. So TKO had a filing last week in a 10Q form. And according to the Wrestling Observer, its portion of the settlement was $105 million. Wrestling Observer points out that the way it's worded on the form, that's only WWE's portion. The shareholders will seemingly got a much larger deal than that. Others paid part of that settlement, which includes Vince McMahon and George Barrios and Michelle Wilson. And it says of the $105 million that WWE owes, their insurance is expected to pay $75 million of it, and then TKO will pay the remaining $30 million. So WWE's insurance is basically paying their part. But then a few hours after I posted that article, more information came out. And according to a Bloomberg report, Vince's portion of what he has to pay to their shareholders is $42.5 million. But Post Wrestling said that there is a disagreement between the co-defendants, WWE, which is Nick Khan, Paul Levesque, George Barrios, and Michelle Wilson, and Vince McMahon, which is holding up the finalization of the settlement. The outlet reported that according to WWE's side, the disagreement stems from indemnification agreements with their insurers. An attorney for WWE has submitted a letter that called it a narrow disagreement. And it says an attorney for McMahon also filed a letter stating that the former chairman has agreed to the settlement and said there are no remaining obstacles in the way of finalizing it. No further explanation of the disagreement was given. And then it says Post Wrestling explained that the directors on the board are often legally protected or indemnified against lawsuits, and a company will provide them defense attorneys if they are sued, and agree to pay for settlements if those directors are found liable. McMahon's degree of indemnification by TKO and WWE, or whether or not he has his own insurer, is one of the big questions. So there is some stuff going on there.
I can say two things about this because I do work in insurance.
Yeah,
so I have insight into these things. So two things could be happening here. One could just be like a timing thing. One could be, so if Vince has his own insurance, that's a separate issue. The first issue that they're saying, so from what I take from that, is that their insurance company is saying, yes, we cover Vince. However, we don't cover Vince breaking the law. So they are probably saying, yes, we're going to pay 75%. However, he broke the law and we are not going to indemnify you, which indemnification, the word indemnify, guys, it means to make whole. Indemnification. So it means like when you like total your car, the insurance company indemnifies you. They make you whole based on what they think your car was worth at the time that you wrecked it. End of story. That's a really oversimplified version of that. Right. So what they could be quibbling over, and potentially would if you're a smart insurance carrier, is that, yes, we're willing to cover this. However, we aren't willing to cover the illegal shit he did.
Right.
And so that could hold, because we already know, if you know anything about insurance, that he, A, may never be able to get insurance again, or B, if he can get it, it will be the most exponentially highly priced insurance.
And as Crash said, watch those insurance premiums skyrocket.
Exactly right, Crash. You are right there with me, brother. if he can ever get it again, it will be astronomically priced.
Right.
That's one. Two is if he has his own insurance. So that's the company insurance that I'm talking about.
Right.
That was like WWE and shareholders and whatever, assuming.
Yeah.
If Vince has his own personal insurance for business reasons, they, as a key person, because I can even write these policies, that's how crazy this gets. It's called a key person policy. If he has something like that, they could also be arguing that, yes, we agreed to pay for business stuff, but we also didn't agree to pay for illegal shit. Right. And like, just a really simple for you or me, like our insurance, we'll say you and I are in a place and a war breaks out, God forbid.
Mm-hmm.
And one of us gets hurt and has an accident plan, or one of us gets unalived and has a life insurance. Well, guess what? The insurance company is going to pay because they say that, well, I'm sorry, but if a war breaks out where you are, we can't control that, so we don't have to pay that money.
Right.
Like, that's a simple example for like us little humans. Think about I'm visualizing the contract that this is, and it would be like, it would fill my room behind me. Like,
yeah.
There's 2,800 lawyers working on it. And because insurance companies are literally not in the business of paying out. They don't want to take the money out the market. They want it in the market.
Right.
I guarantee that those are the hangups about it if it's an insurance related thing, because they're arguing over what they always argue over, which is who has to pay.
Which rich person has to pay another rich person?
But in insurance terms, it's always about who pays first. That's health insurance, life insurance.
Yeah.
Who's on the hook for this money? That's probably what they're quibbling over, is which insurance carrier is on the hook to pay Vince's bad debts. Yeah. They're probably quibbling over every last millipenny of that, because I just made that word up, because it matters right now, because the market sucks. Yeah. And they have to, because there's shareholder value at stake here. It's crazy. Like, just hearing that, it makes me like, sorry guys, I'm in insurance training season, because that's also, it's tournament season and recertification season. So when you say that, I'm like, oh my God, these stupid freaking insurance companies are what's holding this up. And when I said NDA, I want to be really specific too, because we get it mixed up because we've talked about a lot of different kinds. When these settlements usually end up coming to pass, when they are signed, usually settlements include that the people involved are not allowed to talk about or pursue or, discuss with the public or try to get any more financial indemnification about that thing. Is usually a part of what these settlements come out as. And that's just true. I mean, that goes back to like with the cigarette companies when they settled. Right. A lot of those people still can't talk about any of that to a journalist like you. Right. Or to BJ or somebody. Just they can't even talk to me as a normal human about it. They can't even say like Philip Morris sucks, because they could get sued. Yeah. Because they broke their NDA. Right. So there we go.
Yeah. And then also, I want to say the Ring Boys lawsuit is still being litigated. That lawsuit has not gone away. It's being litigated still.
It takes forever.
The most recent update was in May, when the McMahons, Vince and Linda, were trying to get the identities of the Ring Boys made public. They know. So Vince McMahon, Linda McMahon, WWE, and TKO, they know the identities of these Ring Boys. So that's not so people are misunderstanding what that means. Because they're like, oh, they need to know who's suing them. They know who they are. They know who those men are. They want the public to know who they are, so that WWE fans can do what they did to Janelle and go after these victims of and survivors of sexual abuse and send their bots after them, because that's what they do. That's where because you see it with the stuff with like Johnny Depp, with Ezra Miller. They had all these bots coming out.
It's happened to you. BJ called it out. It has happened to Sam.
It has happened to me before for
and
reporting.
Honestly, if you're not doing it, I don't even respond to
most of the stuff. I don't even respond to anymore, because I don't know what's real and what's a bot. So I was like, I'm not wasting my time arguing with a bot that WWE or TKO has paid for.
It's part of their business models. These
it is part of their business models. That's what a lot of these large companies do now.
They have to.
Yes,
because they're all doing it. I don't like it, but
they're trying to change the perception and public court is what
they're writing the narrative in public.
They're doing. So that's why Vince and Linda want the public to know who these survivors are, because they are betting on WWE fans who think that Vince does no wrong to go after these survivors. And so that's why they want their identities out there. They know who they are. Because they're the defendants. They know who the plaintiffs are. So I want to make that very clear, because I keep seeing that and they're like, oh, well, Vince should know who's suing him. He knows. That's not what they're trying. They want the public to know these people's identities, which is putting victims of sexual abuse. They're trying to identify them where they could get doxxed, where they could be harassed, all kinds of things, because for having the audacity to stand up to the McMahons and WWE and TKO for what happened to them. So that case is still ongoing as of right now. There's not been, like I said, there's not been an update really since May, because the judge ruled that their identities had to stay private from the public. So the judge was helping them, and then prior to that, WWE and the McMahons tried to question the validity of the Maryland Child Victims Act, which was already last year decided as constitutional. They're trying to say that it's unconstitutional, that WWE could be held liable, because one of the bigger things there is because the Catholic Church can be named in lawsuits for sexual abuse that happened in various dioceses.
Yep.
And so they can sue the Catholic Church. So under this law, WWE can be named in this lawsuit, not just the McMahons, but WWE, and then TKO is named because they own WWE. And so by the Maryland Child Victim Act, it is constitutional. They can name them. So Vince and Linda and WWE tried to argue that, and the judge was like, nope, it's constitutional. We've already ruled on that. And then they tried to go then. So the next thing was, let's make their identities public, and the judge was like, no, we're not doing that. And so that's kind
there's
of where
other survivor statutes that say that you can't reveal the identities. That's the same as because
they were
honestly
underage when it happened.
In the very moment that we're dealing with. Mm-hmm. So part of the argument is we can't release the Epstein files under the law because the names of the people, all these redacted names. It's no, because you guys have already put the names of these people out there in the press, and you
protected people.
You went out and did it in advance of even putting the actual files out there, and named all these people. So you've set the precedent,
right? That
this is not you can't, because everybody has said you can't do that,
right?
It's federally illegal, and now Maryland has a thing in there that's saying it's state illegal, and judges are ruling with that ruling. And the more a judge agrees with a ruling, the more strong it makes the law.
Right.
That's just how we do law. That's
right.
That's how democracies work, and how judicial jurisprudence works.
Yes.
When it's working.
So
I'm glad that we still have these judges that are out there holding.
They're doing their jobs. And they're trying to protect survivors, because again, these were all, when these incidents took place, they were all minors.
Children.
They were all between, some of them were the age ranges I think were anywhere between 13 and 17. Those are just the ones who are part of this lawsuit.
Right.
There are others out there, most likely, and hopefully, some tragically may have taken their own lives, like we saw. Unfortunately, that happened with Lee Cole, who was the most vocal ring boy about what happened to him, and he took his own life a few years ago after becoming public and dealing with all of that, and obviously years of trauma and abuse. So that trial is still out there, still being litigated. Nothing's happening there. So he's not cleared of charges, because they're all civil lawsuits. So he's not being charged with crimes, but they're trying to make him pay for what he's done in some way. So in that sense, he's not cleared of anything. He's settling, because
in a lot of ways
he does not want to go to court, because if he has to go under oath and say the reason he had TKO created, it's going to corroborate everything that Janelle Grant has said, and the depositions that are being posted, that she has posted. The information is because they were coming from one former board member, and Jeffrey Speed I thought was a former. He's a current board member, and that is a current board member who was saying some of this stuff. So they don't want that information out there because makes them look bad, and it corroborates what Janelle Grant has been saying. And I also wanted to point this out. It sure is funny how the minute Janelle Grant went public, Brock Lesnar was on TV the next day.
Oh my God.
And now that the case has gone out of the public eye,
arbitration, they're already talking about Vinnie Mac coming back.
No, he suddenly retired. No, Brock retired last week. He went on Pat McAfee's show and said he retired. I was like, oh, such interesting timing.
What?
Yes, he went on Pat McAfee's show last week and said he was retired. Nobody believes him. He's probably coming back for a Saudi payday at WrestleMania.
There's no way he's not retired from getting a big fat blood money check.
He'll probably retire after that. The man can't go. He gets winded. All his matches are 6 minutes or less because he can't.
Of course they are. He's 150 years old. He's been carrying that giant body around forever. There's nothing. I mean, look, we all get old, but you can't do what he's done to his body and continue at that pace.
Right.
Bones
so
and
nobody's buying his retirement, especially after the fake retirement earlier this year. And they so nobody believes him, but supposedly he did go on Pat McAfee on Tuesday because I got the alert from ESPN when I was coming home from the doctor's appointment.
So carny.
But so I was like, oh wow, such interesting timing. As soon as Janelle Grant stuff moves out of the public eye, you're suddenly, oh, I'm retired now. Nobody believes you. This company you're absurd.
I'm sorry. Anybody with like a few functioning brain cells and the ability to read should be able to see the writing on the wall from about 1,000,000 miles away on this one. They don't want to go to court. This guy goes back into his cave. You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, that's how these people operate.
That's
and
so
also,
you know what? WWE still wins for worst tactics. They're still winning.
And Paul Levesque, that came out that his right hand man got fired a few weeks ago. Which is he got fired. It was his right hand man who in the non creative side of things, he helped get the AAA deal done.
Which person was it?
Some Patrick Dooley, I think was his name.
Okay, it was
it's his number, but it's his number 2 guy. Clearly to send a message because they are not happy with the way ratings are god awful. And I talked about this last week. They told them the report that came out from Wrestling Observer was they told them they've got till 2028 to get shit together, or they're gonna start making changes. I mean, Paul Levesque is probably safe. I mean, I guess nobody is 100% safe, but he's most likely safer than anybody else. However, I think that was to send a message to him that we'll take your number 2. We'll make it hard for you.
And we're in charge here, not you.
Right. Just because you are in the McMahon family.
You need to pick a person that works to get us better business and makes our shareholders happy, not your buddy. And we can tell you when that has to end.
Right.
This isn't TNA or WCW.
Right. Yeah, so there's a lot of interesting things happening over there. And then, so Saturday for night 1 of SummerSlam, I didn't see because I was at Ashe, but they brought back the press conferences because Janelle Grant no longer.
Oh my God!
Well, listen, they brought it back, and he apparently was asked about something with talent pay, and then the way certain talent is booked or something like that. And so he did not do a good job answering that softball question. And so on night 2, they did not have the press conferences anymore.
That's like the creepy relatives that start moving in like right after a relative passed away or something. That's so gross. Yeah.
So that's what's happening.
That's so gross.
The one positive thing, thank God, is if I have to be forced to watch this company, thank God Kevin Owens is back.
And you get paid.
I'm glad. I'm wearing a Kevin Owens shirt
about that.
But I missed it though. I was covering. But what happened is, so you have to watch WWE PLEs now. You have to have ESPN Unlimited, which I have for free through Fubo. I've used it before and it's been fine. I was able to watch Darius Rucker sing the national anthem because it was on ESPN, and I was very excited. That was like the one highlight of my night was getting to see Darius Rucker. And then I went to change it, and it wouldn't work. And I was like, what do you mean? I just used this like a couple of months ago. So then I'm reading Slack and I'm like, what do you mean Kevin Owens is back? So I missed his return. And I missed all of the pay-per-view except for one full match and half of another match because it wouldn't work. It kept sending me in circles over and over. So I reached out to Fubo, and Fubo was like, oh no, I went and it says, if you're having problems, connect with ESPN Help. So I clicked the link and it went to that. Well, that didn't take me to ESPN. It took me to Disney. So the person at Disney was like, you don't have Disney as part of your bundle, so I can't help you unless you pay $29.99 a month to have Disney add into your bundle so that you can watch this. And I was like, you want me to pay for something I'm supposed to get for free? No. So I went back to Fubo. So I was chatting with somebody at Fubo, and she's like, did you do all this? I'm like, yes, I did all of this. Like, it just keeps sending me in circles. Of course I did all this. And I've watched it before. And she's like, well, I'm sorry if this is inconvenient. And I was like, it's not your fault, but it's a super huge inconvenience because I am supposed to be working right now, and it's keeping me from doing my job. I was like, so yes, it's like, again, I'm not directing this at you. It's not your fault personally. It's your company's fault. But she was like, well, I can't help you. You need to call ESPN, or you need to contact ESPN. And I was like, ESPN routed me to Disney, and they said they can't help me, and they were like, well, give them this code. So I go back, talk to somebody else at Disney and give them the code, and she was like, I don't work for ESPN. I can give you this. She gave me this 888 number, and I was like, fine, I'll call it. And it's an automated thing, and it's like Disney fan help or some shit like that. And it was like, press 1 if you have Disney, if you're calling about ESPN through a third party, or ESPN Limited through a third party or something like that. So I clicked it, and it was like, we can't help you with billing information. And it hung up. And I was like, I'm not asking about billing information. So I called back and I listened. The only other option was to press 2 if you had ESPN Unlimited through ESPN. And so it couldn't help me. So I had to resort to using other methods to get a link so that I could do my job. So I could watch and write about the main event. I got to see the end of Penta. I got to see like the last little bit of Penta versus Chad Gable. And so I got to see Chad Gable win. And they had him in the ring. And then they got their sponsored spot in the middle of Chad Gable giving his speech about how it's the first title he's ever won, singles title he's ever won in WWE. It's in his hometown. And then they have a mug root beer mascot come out that they like made everybody move so Chad Gable and the mascot could get their shot. Such a mess. But yeah, so I got to watch a match and a half of SummerSlam, which, I mean, shout out, I guess, to Fubo for protecting me from watching apparently what was a very shitty pay-per-view. I heard that most of the pay-per-view that I missed
seemed
was
to think
awful.
they were protecting your mental health. Sweet
yeah, apparently so. Crash says Fubo acting as an unintentional safeguard for your mental health and your sweet precious time for what it's worth. Yes, which is funny because that Friday night I was watching SmackDown, and then my Netflix UK figured out you're not in the UK. Which it does from time to time. It figures it out.
Mine does that sometimes.
And it pops up this little message, and it was like, we don't think you're where you say you are. We won't work. So like I turned off my VPN, and like I waited, and then I turned it back on, and like waited 10 minutes and tried to go back in, and it was like, no, we still know that you're not here. Like we're not playing. So I had just covered a match, and I missed the post-match stuff that happened, and I got it from Liv, who was doing live coverage, and was able to finish my article. And then I wrote a hated about the match that I did see. So I was like, I mean, shout out to you for like trying to keep me from seeing the rest of that shit SmackDown. And then also from the shitty pay-per-view, but also like I'm trying to do my job.
Right, yeah. But also to pay the bills, you see.
Right, exactly.
In
so
this
now I'm going to have
economy.
to, I haven't done it yet, but I guess I'm going to go through one more time and just see if I can set it up on my own and see if it'll play. But it worked before. It worked 2 months, like it was working 2 or 3 months ago. Then otherwise, I guess I'm going to have to reach out to Fubo and like, what are we going to do so this doesn't happen again? Like it's affecting my ability to work. Like I don't want to watch this, but I get paid to. So you're affecting my job right. And I need you to work. Or I guess I'm just going to have to use alternative methods like I did last time. Which if I have to, I have to.
I feel
heard
lucky
that
to have my Disney situation squares for my Verizon because
Well, and I have, but the thing is, like, so it's supposed to be through Fubo, but I have Disney Plus. I have a bundle that's Hulu, Disney, and HBO Max, but ESPN's not part of that bundle, and so they were like, they were trying to make me subscribe, and I was like, I know it's because you don't know what I mean, because you're not a part of ESPN, so your thing is, hey, well, then just subscribe to us for
mine.
She was like, you can subscribe and always cancel it, and I was like, I'm not paying $30 something I'm supposed to get for free.
Yeah. Because mine has my Verizon one has those. It has it's Disney, Hulu, and ESPN. Because I get my HBO Max through my interwebs people because it's a better deal. So, and then I turn things on and off when I need them. It's Premier League is starting up soon, so I guess I'm not getting rid of my Paramount Plus anytime soon.
They always find a way to hook you.
My Peacock from the cable company too. So
yeah, I heard night 1 was even worse than night 2, and night 2 was not good. But I heard like the main event was, because I watched Roman versus Seth, and they were like, it was every Seth Roman match. I'm still stuck on the fact that
they made SummerSlam more than one night.
It's because they started doing it during COVID, and then now they can make advertising dollars. So that won't go back to that. It'll stay 2 nights, and WrestleMania will stay 2 nights.
Yeah.
And then now I think there's like, I think the next thing is another Saturday night. Well, actually, it's a Sunday night's main event because they had it on a Saturday but had to move it. Then Money in the Bank is in October, and then Survivor Series is November. So the next big thing is the Saturday night's main event. And so then on top of that, so you know, they crowned so night 2 I missed this match. So they crowned an interim champion because Rhea Ripley is injured. She's dealing with a slightly torn meniscus, is what they had said. So they did an interim match. Chelsea Green won that match. It was the interim. But then on Thursday, the same day Buddy Matthews puts out a video on Instagram saying he's cleared to return after 18 months. And he had surgery too. He had, from where he hurt his ankle in that match with Okada in Australia, he had to so they did a full thing. They did like a cartilage scope. They scoped it. They did like cartilage stuff. He had a cartilage donor and had to learn how to walk again. So that's what Buddy Matthews has been doing. So the day he announced he's been cleared to wrestle, Rhea Ripley announced she had surgery. And she said it's just, at least they're hoping she only needs 1 surgery, but she could potentially have more. So there is no timetable for her return. So everybody assumed, okay, well, Chelsea's no longer the interim champion. They'll just but they haven't made a decision. Well, then Friday night, she and Tiffany Stratton had a tag team match with 2 members of Fatal Influence, and Chelsea broke her orbital bone. So now our interim champion is also, so we're going to need so somebody's like, so now we need an interim champion because now Chelsea's out. I don't know what
that is monumentally, that's spectacularly horrible luck.
It is. Yeah, she announced apparently she went on her social media last night and confirmed broken orbital bone.
Terrible.
I don't know if she said what the expected, like how long she's supposed to be out. So I don't know what their plan is going to be now with the SmackDown side of things, because
it's hard because I don't know if they do surgery for that or if it just has to heal. Because I guess
it depends on the severity.
Yeah,
if they do, because I'm trying to think. Somebody recently had a broken orbital within the last year or so, and I can't remember now off the top of my head who it was. And I don't remember if they ended up having surgery. I guess it depends on, and I haven't seen, it came out while I was covering Collision last night, so I'm not sure what they're, or maybe they're waiting. I'm not sure what exactly is happening with that. If she's going to need, if they're going to try and see if it can heal on its own, or if she's going to have surgery. I assume she's going to have surgery, but I don't know. So now Rhea's out for an undetermined amount of time. I don't know when Chelsea Green's going to be out. And then on the Raw side of things, we started doing interesting things with the women, and then men who use Chat GPT and AI to book and do writing for WWE had to mess it up. Actually, I think it was just men. I think there was no AI involved. It's just men think this is how women have to be presented. So Liv Morgan, who has at SummerSlam defended her title for the first time in 100 days. She's had the title for 100 days, never defended her title. She wins. So she's out in the ring with Raquel and Roxy. Raquel is the women's IC champion. So Becky Lynch has had that belt, and so Raquel has it now. Sol Ruca beat Becky for it, and then Raquel beat Sol for it like a week ago. So Becky Lynch returns. We haven't seen Becky in 2 months. Seems like she's finally dropped the Trump gimmick that she was doing. And seems like we're getting babyface Becky Lynch. So she's like, I'm not here for Raquel. I'm not here for your title. I already did my stuff for that title. Hey, Raphael. Thank you for stopping by.
Welcome.
Good to see you. Raphael is my good friend and my wonderful editor from Daily DDT.
Raphael's a good brother.
He is a good brother.
Welcome.
So we love Raphael in this house. And he is the one who has supported me through all of the Vince McMahon lawsuit stuff and was a huge cheerleader for me over there. So I always appreciate him. And he's an awesome dude.
No, I'm a fan by proxy, just knowing how much he supported Sam. So yeah, and we've been online and we've joked around about silly stuff. So
so anyway. So Becky comes and she's like, I'm not coming for you, Raquel. I've been there, done that. I'm coming for you, Liv. Liv said, shouldn't you be at home taking care of your kid? She's like, so that's where this is going. And so, well, Becky called her out and was like, you defended your title once in 100 days. Like, what kind of champion are you? And then her comeback was, shouldn't you be home being a wife and a mother instead of, it's basically her line. Well, then, so she gets.
Well, I mean, that's what the algorithm would write.
Oh, well, then Becky had to have her own sexist moment. So Liv and Roxy and Raquel are backing themselves up the ramp, and she said, "You're not even the best champion in your group, and you're not the best champion in your group that has had sex with Dominic Mysterio." Yeah, this feud is about the most classic tropes you can get in women's wrestling in WWE. You should be at home you should be home in the kitchen, and you should stop being a slut. Basically. So then Stephanie Backer comes back at the same time. Stephanie Backer's been gone because of visa issues. So we could have had a really great, strong segment, but WWE had to WWE because women they have to be catty and they have to be whores, basically, or they have to be at home in the kitchen. So yeah, we had that. And this is after, this comes on top of Maxine Dupree, even though bless her, she's doing her best trying to wrestle. She's not very good at it. She has made improvements. They even let her have the IC title for a minute. But now she's a valet. And Austin Theory is her on-screen boyfriend. And so now she just comes out with him and is his arm candy and is not wrestling. So this is what WWE thinks of women in 2026. They have some of their best wrestlers in Becky Lynch and Stephanie Backer. They did tease something with them. At least there was that. But the bar is on the ground because of the men who are the complicit men in that company. And then also they use AI. So yeah, that's what's happening with women in WWE at this moment. Thankfully, the one storyline they actually have with women is Charlotte Flair and Jade Cargill, and they're using other women like Alexa Bliss. Now they've added Tatum Paxley. So that story, and it doesn't revolve around a title, but we can only deal with one women's story at a time. Apparently.
One thing at a time.
And so far, we don't have any like slut shaming or anything, but I'm sure it's coming over to SmackDown too.
So I came up with an invention today, actually, that I was going to talk to you about just to this point, so I figured out that we need a universal manslayer. And what I mean by that is we need to have a dude or a dude's voice that we can say something into the thing, or we can have a man with us like they do on the comedy shows, and we can say it, and they just repeat it, but in a man's voice.
Yeah.
And I'm going to call it the universal manslayer. Because then that way people will actually listen to you, because if they hear it in a man's, not all the time, but some people really seem to need, it's like, why didn't I think of saying that in a man's voice?
Right.
So that's gonna be. So this is my new marketing thing. What do you think? Like, I think I can.
I think we could.
this.
I think it's good. I think we could.
I think that's what we need. I was thinking we should have members of our to like get it off the ground. We should have members of Fight Game Media come in and do it for us once in a while. Just tag in, come say what we just said, but as a man in a boy's voice. Like have Jeff do it. He'd be great.
Yeah.
Just be like, can you just say what I just said?
Great? Let's get James McDaniel. I know he's busy.
Gosh, there we go. He would love that. That'd be a perfect
Let's have James come in and read our script.
Just here you go. Just say this in a man's voice, James. Here you go, honey.
Repeat it.
I'll
feed you your lines.
You can be our universal manslater. And
go.
It will totally help people because I just think it would get things done quicker. Because a lot of times it's really all it is. I mean, even when I do things in my like shoot life, I'm always like, Bob, can you call this person and say it to them in a man's voice? Because they just need to hear it. I'm not like, I don't have any, I get it. I worked with kids. I used to bring the boy coaches over and be like, can you talk to this little boy? Because he's clearly got issues that are not his fault from the adults in his life. That was I used to be the they used to love to be like, read this kid, like what's up with this kid? Why doesn't he listen to me? And it's like, well, this kid, clearly the mom is the boss in that kid's house, or the dad is the boss, or it's more man dominated, or it's more lady dominated. Like I could like read the tea leaves of like the kid's behavior, and all my coaches would like challenge me. People are crazy. I don't know what to say.
Curryhead has a very good point. If we do that, remember to make sure it's a white male.
Oh, that's a really gotta be straight too, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real, right?
Yep. We'll make sure we get that.
Although, like, that would blow everything up because Garrett literally put us on here to blow that stereotype out of the water. We had to revert all. We've come full circle. Oh, Lord.
And Garrett can't read it because
WWE sucks right now. I really am. I mean, I don't want... I've said this the whole time. I don't want the major promotion to suck. Most people are like, oh, you mean like WWE? And I'm like, please, no.
Right.
No, there's other kinds, it turns out.
Yes, there's lots of other kinds.
Lots of other kinds.
Thankfully, we live in a time. But also, we live in a time where WWE is still the one that people associate pro wrestling with.
Yeah. Which is why I wish it didn't suck so bad, because, it's an easier sell.
Yes. Crush says AI will make sure that full discrimination coverage guaranteed.
Yeah, right.
Yes. So that has been WWE Corner. Because I was forced to watch it. And who knows what's going to happen? I don't know what's going to happen. We have SmackDown has two women's champions who are injured, and I don't know what they're going to do about the interim. If they're going to make another.
And Triple H just lost one of his boys, so.
Yeah, and now we have slut shaming and
AI robots writing things.
Right. And now we also have, I will say Cody had, I don't trust WWE to do anything with it. I don't think Cody's turning heel. However, he had a really great line the other night, and they're probably not going to build off of it where they should. And we're also getting CM Punk versus Kevin Owens, which if you know, those two hate each other's guts in real life. And they're not allowed to clearly talk about, this was like ROH. This is how long they've hated each other. It's back in ROH times. But they're not allowed to, so they're basically, all commentary will say is, they straight up said they have a lot of history, but we're not allowed to talk about it. So CM Punk got around it, or they kind of got around it by Punk body shamed Kevin Owens, but it was in reference to what he said to him back in ROH to get around that, I guess is what they were going for. Like, we can sort of, they're just dancing, like much like they dance around AEW, they're now dancing around ROH's history between Kevin Owens and CM Punk. But it is very clear that they still hate each other. Which will be interesting. It could make for some fun TV whenever they finally wrestle. Should be fun because they're going to, really, but it's very clear that they still hate each other. So it might be a train wreck. It could be incredible TV, or it might be a huge train wreck.
I always like to see what happens when Phil Brooks is told no.
was also, it'll be interesting to see how this turns out. I'm just really glad.
the longer they spread it out, the longer the risk become the
I have missed Kevin Owens so much.
Oh, I know. I'm really happy for you on that front.
I'm so glad for that. And then Sammy is a whiny baby heel, and he had some things to say so they were teasing some stuff with him and Kevin eventually. So hopefully we'll get that again. So there are some tiny positives and silver linings, but
it will manifest better.
99.9% of it is dog shit, and then there's we get little glimmers here and there. So we talk about something positive like Grand Slam Mexico.
That's a good call.
No, you don't want to be dragged down with me.
We are supporting Sam emotionally because she financially needs to support herself doing her job, and unfortunately, part of that is watching that madness.
But yes, we're done now. We're done with.
We're gonna go. Yeah,
we're done with the WWE portion of the show. Thank you for suffering through it with me.
They kind of
I watched it, so you didn't have to, but then you had to hear about it.
They kind of like it. They love it.
But Grand Slam Mexico was amazing, as expected. Really great stuff from top to bottom. I really am glad that they are doing stuff now, like they're going back, and seems like the fans in Arena Mexico loved it. That was really cool. Of like when they sang Cope's song to him, obviously in English, and so it kind of reminds me of, I was like, it's kind of like when Mexico comes here and you can see some of the people singing along in Spanish, so it's cool to kind of see the Spanish or the Mexican fans know the English lyrics and sing for him, which is really cool. So that was I haven't had a chance to hear it, but I saw him grab the mic, and they didn't do it on air, but he did talk to the crowd in Spanish, apparently. I didn't get to see the clip. I think a clip came up, and I didn't get to watch it for whatever reason, but it was I also think that that dive from Christian Cage seemed to come out, and I don't think that was a planned spot, because I mean they caught him, but it was like he's coming, but the look on Adam Copeland's face was, what is he doing? That was not we were not supposed to be doing this, and thank God he's okay and they caught him, because it could have been very bad. And Copeland knows, because this man has broke his hip or his leg or whatever it was off of a cage. So but yeah, I thought it was a really good show. Curryhead is trying to bait me. We are not going to talk about FTR. I do. It is a better conversation than talking about WWE. I will give you that, but I don't. Speaking of
smart Alec.
However,
speaking of
FTR and CM Punk, after the other night, after we had got caught up on some stuff, Nikki's like, I'm going to turn it on Tubi again on the Fast Channel, just see where they're at, because we had watched a random Dynamite and Rampage a couple weeks ago. Oh. This one it was the Dynamite before Double or Nothing 2022. So it was right before CM Punk beat Hangman for the title, and they were showing the flashlight. They didn't show the clip, but you saw the clip of Hangman and Punk, and that's the promo that started all of it, where
we talked about his friends and stuff.
In a reference, so they didn't play it, but you could see it in their little flashback, and I was like, oh boy. So that's where we were here, and so we watched. I'm trying to remember. So then it went into and William Regal was on commentary. Oh no, it started on Rampage. That's what it was. It was the Rampage before Double or Nothing. And they were going through the card. That's also the card that had Wardlow and MJF. That was when MJF, nobody could find him. He didn't show up. He basically ruined Wardlow's career. That's when that happened. And we were Nick and I were oh my God. And so my dad was over. We were kind of he knew, we had told him about it before, but we were kind of this is the mat. This is where
it started it all.
This is where things got really bad with MJF and Wardlow. This is where the CM Punk stuff happened. This is about this time frame. So then it went into Dynamite, and it opens with, I think it was the opening, but CM Punk is where he jumped the barricade, and that's where he broke his foot. And he came out, and you can tell, and he was teaming with FTR, and against it was the Guns and Max Caster, because Anthony Bowens was in a wheelchair because he was injured.
Right, because he had busted his leg into that at that ladder match.
So it was crazy. Yeah, right. And so so you could see Punk. You could tell like they kind of kept him out of the match. FTR was kind of doing a lot of the work because clearly he was injured. Punk gets in the ring. You can see him limping down the ramp, and then you see him kind of limping around the ring, and then JR was like, something's going on with Punk. I'm not sure what it is, but he was like, he's injured himself somehow. Mm-hmm. And then of course, and then I thought about it later and I was like, oh, that's where we're about to get the 8-minute video, the 8-minute thing of him in the ring. And then because Thunder Rosa was champion at the time, and I was like, oh, and then this is where Thunder Rosa, she's coming close to where Thunder Rosa has to vacate her title in a Twitter segment backstage. And then I asked about it and Tony got mad at me.
Right. He almost put you on timeout.
He did put me in timeout.
Oh, that's right. He did put you on timeout. That's right.
Allegedly. We don't know. I don't know for sure. The timing is just very interesting. But so anyway, I ended up falling asleep because it was late. And Miley, it was funny. I had the TV on, but Miley was moving and it woke me up. And I got to see because Wardlow wrestled James Drake. And then I remembered, I was like, oh, this is nothing but Powerbomb symphonies. And that's what it was. James Drake was there. JD Drake took a bunch of power bombs from Wardlow because he was mad about what had happened with MJF. Yeah, I was like, oh, what a time.
Yeah,
a time.
So much has happened.
So I was like, that was only 2022.
I know, it seems like, it's like, wait, wasn't, nope, that's been, oh crap.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Yes. Crash said, how can you not be hyped out experiencing that reaction? Yeah, right.
They're always, I mean, Mexican crowds are always fun with those kind. I mean, sporting events, it's always fun. They
love them some Speedball Mike Bailey.
Oh, they were so awesome. I loved them. Yes, they were so into that match. I was like, well, us in Mexico have that in common.
Yes. He was getting all kinds. I mean, I know Speedball has wrestled down because Jet Speed was wrestling in Mexico down there some with CMLL and doing some stuff when they were doing crossover. And I think Speedball has been back there since then. But yeah, he was like super over. I mean, so was Kyle, but Speedball was really over, especially that one where it looked like Speedball was actually going to win that match. Yeah. And then that kick out happened, and that crowd reaction because they thought Speedball was getting ready to win. Was really cool to see, and I was like, I'm glad that Speedball and Fletcher had that match was fantastic.
Yeah, that was a really
so good.
I actually went and told because John's kind of been off the Dynamite and Collision lately, and I was like, if you did anything, you should go watch that match because it's a really good match. Like it was a lot of energy, and it was like you just like it. It's two people. Go. What did you think of the main event, the Mexican street fight? I liked their reactions. I thought everyone seemed like they were having fun. It felt like another Detroit show. It felt like feels like they have a lot of momentum in their shows right now.
Yeah,
like they just kind of had like consecutive shows where the crowds have just been knowing their role. I love that the wrestlers they pay homage without like trying to be appropriational nowadays. It's much better than the old, and when they're being appropriational, like what MJF does, they're doing it specifically to be a heel, and it gets over there. Right. So, but I thought
Ciampa
I didn't think it was nearly as like if you're getting like peeved about having no outside interference in a street fight. That seems silly to me because like Johnny Gargano and why did I just flake up? Tommaso Ciampa used to have street fights with each other and no outside interference, and they were some of the best matches I've ever seen in my life.
I thought the match was incredible, and that was my concern with them taking the title off of Mark Davis, that he was going to be kind of put on the back burner. And
but
then
they didn't. They're like
they
keeping
didn't
him.
And it seems like, I mean, if they decide to put him back with Doyle to go back and do that tag team, I have no issue with that because I think they're a great tag team. I just don't want them. It seems like Mark Davis really got a ton of momentum with that title, and I'm glad to kind of see them keep their foot on the gas. But now I'm worried that now that we've moved past this match, like, are they gonna like kind of because there's so many people on Callis family.
There
Like,
are.
what
There
are they
are
going
a
to do?
lot.
But I thought the match was really great, and I still want Kenny Omega to beat Will Ospreay.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think
but I
what
thought
I'm
the match was
struggling
great.
with, and somebody pointed this out to me, and it's true, is that it's right now it's very predictable because we know a lot of where we're going because we're kind of it. Not that it's bad. Like I thought this was a great show. I thought they did a really nice job,
Yeah.
and obviously the Mexican crowds are going to be awesome. I think he definitely needed this because he had to know that the booking looks pretty obvious right now, and we're kind of getting to Wembley. And that's so right now we're in that period where it's like we all really know what's gonna pretty much happen. I mean, it's probably a good time that they pulled the Continental Cup out right now because I think you run the risk of losing interest. And then I am glad, like you, Mark Davis can do everything. He can be in a tag team. He can be in a singles. Just don't put him away. Don't hide him. Use him.
Right. His pile driver is like the pile driver is such a I guess it is a simple move, but it's a move we see so often that it just becomes a routine thing. But when he does it, he makes it important and he makes it violent and like he just whips people up by their ankles and just puts them like because he did it to Orange Cassidy before he got injured. He did it to Orange Cassidy and he did it even to Speedball when that whole feud was going on between the three of them, and he just makes it look really good. Yeah, and he should be a constant judge. I want him in the G1 so bad. I think he would be incredible in the G1.
That's a good idea.
I really want him in it. The first time I really got to see, I saw him as a tag team, but the first singles stuff I saw of him was when he was in the New Japan Cup, when he and Kyle were in it. And I was like, wait a minute, Mark Davis is just as good as Kyle Fletcher. And they're an amazing tag team, but apart, they're also very good. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, wow. Mark Davis looking like a stunt man in Passion of the Christ with that crown of literal barbed wire.
True story.
Yes, he did. I know Ospreay. I've been saying since January that Ospreay is going to win. I have accepted it. I think if this was anywhere but Wembley, it would be Omega.
She knows it in her heart.
I know. I've been saying it.
She knows in her brain. She's just not accepting it in her heart.
January, where we have talked about it, and I have said Will Ospreay is winning, and the Brawling Birds are winning.
I'm starting to wonder if Nigel McGuinness isn't going to be in the freaking finals of that.
Yeah, I do want to talk about
I know that we're going to talk about it, but
yeah.
It dawned on me when I was watching Collision. I went, wait, Nigel's in the tournament? And Wembley's coming out?
Yes, and he's wrestled. We talked about it. We mentioned it. I mentioned it last week. Nigel has wrestled at the last several, or he's wrestled at every Forbidden Door, I believe, or every Forbidden Door in the UK. Because he's wrestled Zach and he's wrestled Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson. So is he? I think maybe he's only missed one. Oh no, and he was in the Gauntlet, the first one.
Wasn't he injured for one of them?
No, he was in the first
Gauntlet. In the Gauntlet.
He was in the first Gauntlet. Then he wrestled Bryan Danielson, and then he wrestled Zach. So then this year will be like I think. So I don't think he's missed any, unless he's missed one. I think that's right. I would love to see, and I was really excited about the Continental Cup to see Ace Austin because I wanted Ace Austin in last year's C2. I know he got knocked out in the first round last night, but I want to see Ace Austin in the C2 this year. I think he has incredible matches. I think he gets overlooked sometimes.
He was awesome. That was
good.
A great match.
And then I would also like to see Mark Davis in the C2. He can be in the C2 and in the G1.
Yeah. He can be in all the tournaments.
Yes. Lauren says that Davis has the best pile driver in wrestling and Hyon has the best spear. Yeah, her spear was pretty good. Yeah, definitely. Maybe Moxley will cost. Okay. So let's talk about it because you might be right. There's a lot of factors. So I was not thrilled about the C2 Cup just because I was like, I don't want it to take away from the C2 itself. Like, why are we doing this? I feel like Tony has a reason for it, other than not giving it to women. But I will say, I have said it before. I do not want a women's C2. I don't want to hear damn C2. If you're not going to put any effort into it like you did with the tag tournament, I don't want it. I would rather not have one because you are not good at booking women's tournaments. And he starts from the way it sounds like he starts planning the C2 around Forbidden Door. So if you're putting that much effort into a men's tournament, I want that same energy
for the women.
I want that same energy for the women's tournament.
Yep.
So I don't want a C2 until you can figure out how to put some energy and effort into it, because we had a Here Damn tag team tournament. Yeah. I don't want that.
Which was what we were afraid of the whole time.
Right. And we
argued against that the tag belts forever because we didn't want them to be kind of where they are right now.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, on the one hand, yes, more women on TV ish, but we're still having the same issues. So anyway, when they first announced the C2, I was like, I'm sure it'll be great. We'll get some good matches, but I don't know. And then they announced the matches, and I was like, I don't care about Brian Cage being in this, and he's probably going to lose in the first round. So Egisaro's probably beating him. But I was like, every single one of these matches are going to be a banger, at least. And, I think this is to get I guess they didn't want to make Jon Moxley have the title through the C2. I guess they wanted that belt off of him sooner, which is my theory of Hangman is no longer correct because Hangman is not in this tournament. So Hangman will not be the one throwing Jon Moxley. However, we had 3 matches that started last night. We had the first match was I keep thinking of the main event, which was not the first match. The first match was I covered it. Why am I blanking now on who the very first match was? I literally just watched it. But we had Ace Austin versus Claudio. And unfortunately,
we just talked about it.
Unfortunately, Ace is knocked out. Hopefully, Ace will be in the C2. But that was a really good match. And then, so Claudio being in it is interesting because I wondered if Claudio would be the one to beat. I have some theories, but I thought about it last night. I was like, oh, how interesting. How does that change the dynamic if Claudio beats Jon Moxley for that title that is so intertwined with Jon Moxley? How does that change the dynamics of the Death Riders? How does that change the dynamics between Claudio and Jon Moxley? Is Moxley just happy that the title stayed with the Death Riders? He has said in that video that Claudio is his number one. He would die for Claudio, so would he not care so much if it's Claudio? But would he, how would that play out if that happened? And then we also had Orange Cassidy defeated why am I forgetting? I literally just watched this match last night. Orange Cassidy won. I'm
not helping, so.
No, why did I literally just
I know I watched this morning and now I just
Orange Cassidy Orange Cassidy won, which I'm not surprised. He beat thank you. God, why did I forget? Because it was Matt Sydal, who I love. And Matt Sydal looked great. Matt Sydal hasn't wrestled, I think they said, in 26 months. And he made up for it. He looked great. And I'm so sorry that I forgot just now because I love Matt Sydal. I knew he wasn't going to win. But I thought Orange Cassidy was a great first opponent for him. I'm so glad he's back. I love Matt Sydal. And when we turned it on to Tubi the other night, Danielson was wrestling Matt Sydal.
Oh, funny.
So that was great. And then, of course, the main event was Eddie Kingston defeating Jake Doyle, which I think that was the perfect opponent for him. Eddie did seem a little off, but Paul White pointed out that the altitude in Colorado may have been messing with him. And I think it was Tony Schiavone pointed out that he kept tugging on his ears and he wondered if he was having some vertigo issues because of the altitude, and maybe that was affecting Eddie a little bit last night. And you can see that Eddie is not the Eddie that he was prior to surgery, but I think he looks better than he has in a while. I think going to ROH has helped him get some of that ring rust off, not in front of a huge audience. He's been able to do stuff with Ortiz. Now they've got Mance involved down there. So
isn't Claudio Eddie's arch nemesis?
Yes, which I was going to get to.
So if Claudio did beat Jon Moxley, then Jon Moxley and Eddie could get back together.
Well, no, I don't know about that because I have been way back when this Death Rider story started. I said the person to defeat Jon Moxley and end the Death Riders would be Eddie Kingston because Jon Moxley has
betrayed
said
him
going
to
back
his
to
nemesis.
Claudio has become his best friend. He said Claudio is my number one. I would die for him. And I don't think Eddie Kingston's going to take that too lightly. And so are we finally getting the payoff? I don't mean, clearly it's not going to be the end of the Death Riders. They're not going anywhere. But is Eddie Kingston the one who can beat Jon Moxley? That would be going back to their story from a couple of years ago. They were doing things where they were really close friends, and then Eddie couldn't win the title, and then they kind of had a falling out. Well, they just kind of Jon went on his Death Rider way and left Eddie behind. Eddie's not part of this. Claudio has now taken his place, seemingly. So could we be revisiting? Have we come full circle? And now it's going to be Eddie to be the one. Eddie did win the very first Continental Classic. That's how he became the Triple Crown champion. And he was holding 3 titles. So they could do that. But I can't tell. I think it kind of depends on where Eddie is as far as what he can do in the ring and how often I don't think he's good. I think whoever gets this, probably Jon Moxley has made this a workhorse title. He has defended that title a lot. I don't know, even if it's not Eddie, I don't know that the next person will defend that title as much as Jon Moxley has. Jon Moxley just likes to wrestle, so he'll put his title on the line. He doesn't care. And I think he will, but Jon Moxley has to beat Jack Perry. If Jack Perry beats Jon Moxley on Wednesday, Jack Perry becomes the Continental Champion. And he'll carry the title through the tournament. I don't think that's happening. I think Jon Moxley's losing that title at All In. But that's a really interesting thing that they're doing here. And so, I can't tell if it's going. But then Nigel is also a possibility, because Nigel has also, as I mentioned last week, Nigel is set to face Lee Moriarty on August 21st at Death Before Dishonor. That is, I believe, 9 days before All In, and he has said if he loses to Lee Moriarty a third time, he will no longer compete in ROH ever again. So that adds an interesting layer to the AEW side of things, because he's clearly not been a full-time wrestler in a really long time, and he said the whole reason he's been inspired to be in this is he would rather be a lion for a day than a lamb for a lifetime. So he's taking his shot, and he's going to try it. I wouldn't be surprised if Nigel beat Jon Moxley. Granted, he doesn't wrestle on a regular basis, but Nigel, being who he used to be, could potentially beat Jon Moxley. You get Nigel winning in the UK in Wembley Stadium. Maybe he holds the title till the C2 tournament, and then he loses it in the tournament. Maybe he loses it before then. I haven't. So, I like Eddie, because that's been my long-term theory, and I want to be right, even if this was not the plan all along, if we just came back to it. But Nigel is a really interesting
him being in there made me think, oh, wait.
Yeah. I'm very interested in seeing how this turns out. I think I like that this doesn't, as of right now, as of the first round, doesn't look super obvious. But then the other factor is Jay White. Because of the Bang Bang, I did
see him on there, and it made me feel better, actually. So I figured that maybe they're just resting him for this.
So they are. They took him. He just needed. He had something minor. They took him off.
That's what I was hoping, because I saw him come up on the thing, and I was like, maybe they just were resting him.
He is wrestling Finley on Wednesday.
Right.
So you did see, on the one hand, you saw the dogs come out and interfere in the 8-man match last night, and they helped the Death Riders win. But there's no interference. These are contested under C2 rules, so there's no outside interference. So the Death Riders can't come help him beat Jay White. So, but I think I'm with LeRon. When I saw the initial participants,
I want him to
Jay
win.
is who I wanted to win, because we need to do something with Jay.
That'd be
and we need
awesome.
We need to not do that fake title bullshit that they did with him
Let's
and MJF.
do this.
So Jay makes a ton of sense because of his history with Jon Moxley, because of the Death Riders Bang Bang Gang history. So as of first round, we have 3 potential viable people. We have Eddie Kingston, who has all the history with Jon Moxley. You have Nigel, who's kind of, I guess, the dark horse. This is his last shot at glory. Gets the Wembley moment where he wins the title. Tony likes to do that. We saw it happen with Saraya. So that's not out of the realm of possibility. And now we have the extra layer of, if he loses to Lee Moriarty that a week before, he can't wrestle in ROH anymore. So does he win an AEW so that he can continue competing and hold the title for a little bit? Or do you go with Jay White, because it's Jay White, and we have missed Jay White for a long time, and we need to quit fucking around and put a title on him already.
And give this guy the microphone, get him his matches, give him everything.
Right.
He's Jay White, for Pete's sake. He's amazing.
So I want it to be Jay White, and that is who I'm going to stick with Jay White. But I don't think Jay White is necessarily a clear-cut answer as of round 1. Once we get past round 1 and get into the next round, maybe it becomes more apparent. But yeah, there's definitely some interesting storytelling there. And I want to go back up to, there's some other comments about, let's see here. Fernando says, that's a good idea, Sam. And after that, I'd like to see Eddie get his revenge on Gabe Kidd. Oh, so that's true. If that's the possibility, that if he defeats Jon Moxley, then he can finally, hopefully, get his rematch with Gabe. If they can both stay healthy enough, they could do that. Yes, Matt Sydal is a great worker. I was worried when they suggested he hurt his ankle again. God, I hope not. I hope he's good and healthy. But yeah, he looked phenomenal last night. Just put him on, he has been doing stuff with Skyflight, so I see him probably doing more ROH stuff, but I'm glad to see him get the match in that tournament. Crush said there's a lot of people rooting for Eddie in this C3 tournament already. All anecdotal. That reminds me, so I did see a promo this morning. I think they posted it last night. It was exclusive. I watched it this morning. Eddie was talking about, he said something really interesting. He said something along the lines of, hang on, I think I might actually have it, because I still have my Twitter pulled up so I can pull up an article. So I think I've got it here. He made a reference and he said, he has been away from TV because of his own doing, and that's for him to know. So I don't know if he is confirming my theory of he wanted to go to ROH so that he could work on the rust, or if something happened backstage and Tony was mad and made him go to ROH and wouldn't put him on TV. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll find out. It is Eddie, so we may not. So I can't tell what he means by that, but regardless, but he said people kept coming up to him, when are you going to be on TV? When are you going to be on TV? I miss you being on TV. In the promo, he says he called Tony Khan and said, put me in that tournament. I want to be on TV, and I won the first one. I was the first Continental Champion or winner. I want to be the first Continental Challenge Cup winner too. So they are kind of planting seeds, but I think they're doing it on purpose so it's not so obvious. But that I thought was really interesting. It was a really great promo, because Eddie is the best at cutting promos. So it kind of depends on, I guess, how his body is holding up and how his leg is holding up. And then of course there's the Nigel and then Jay White. Maria is looking forward to, I think, Jack Perry beating Moxley. I mean, Jack Perry wrestling Moxley, I think, is what Maria's the one that she's talking about.
That should be a good match, actually.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, because Jack has been really good this year.
He needs to level up, and that'll be a really fun match for him to level up on.
He's not a technical wrestler, and he held his own against Zack Sabre Jr. He
did a really nice job. I'm liking seeing Jack grow up.
Yes, and he's doing some other things. Yeah, he has been leveling up, and the match with Nick Wayne was really good. Nick Wayne
is doing a nice job too.
Nick is so good.
Jeez, Darby Allin, why don't you take a page out of these guys' books? What's wrong with you, dude?
Can we please get Darby away from that TNT title? I swear to God, if he beats Kevin Knight.
Man.
Like,
you know what? It's become like a rally
cry.
cry, and I know that you talked about it with him, and you guys like, agreed with him, is like Bob's whole thing about like get new gear and like change, do something, upgrade, like level up, like do something. And now my mother-in-law is in on it, so it's like Bob and my mother-in-law, and I was like, I know. Sam and Nikki totally agreed with you. They were like, they didn't need it, and they need to keep them away from it. And if you're gonna do something different. You do the same thing all the time. It's like, and I get it. Like, I know people love Darby, and I know they have to. That was Mexico, and he got a good pop, and great. But it's just for me. He's like, I'm the one that like, if I'm gonna watch that back per se, that's like I'm shuffling through that. I'm like, I don't have time. I just don't. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for coming. Glad that you found us.
Yeah.
Also agrees that Jay White did dethrone Max.
We are huge Jay White fans here, obviously. It was funny because, obviously didn't get to see him in Detroit, and I was a tiny bit bummed. But then I really, I had to check myself and be like, Mel, you got to see Jay White in one of the most awesome venues in the world fight for the title against the greatest wrestler ever.
Right.
So, which was, and for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, which was the crossover show for Madison Square Garden when Okada and Jay White fought for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. So it's like, if he needs to take a rest and I don't get to see him in Detroit this time, in fact, if I never got to see him again, I got to see him, peak. So I really need to it's like, relax. You were lucky.
Yeah.
So, but I want to see him win all the belts, and I need him to get back on microphones. Jay is so... The shit he used to start in New Japan was legendary.
Yes. Oh, and speaking of Jay White, that reminds me. So you know how a couple of weeks ago they did the PSA, and they went to that dog adoption place, and they had the dogs named Finley, and they named the dog Finley and Clark. Those two dogs got adopted.
Of course they did.
I think it was Ace that tweeted it. One of them, or maybe it was somebody from the Guns. One of them tweeted it the other day that the two dogs got adopted.
Of course they did.
I don't know if their names are Finley and Clark, or if they are named whatever they were named before that segment, but they got adopted. So shout out to them for doing a good promo and helping two dogs to get adopted. And I think somebody was saying in the replies that their mom worked at that facility, and they said that everybody was so nice, like everybody from the Bang Bang gang that was involved, and they loved having them there. So I'm very glad to hear that. And two doggies got a home.
So nice.
Crush says he thinks Takeshita could win the C2 this year just to rub Okada up. Depends on what happens between then and now. Lots of simmering there for sure.
And I agree with Nikki, because it is fun that, exactly. You were thinking, you were in my head already. It's nice that we don't have it's going to be this person, especially right now where we do know, I think, where the belts are going when it goes to Wembley. Having that, who could win this tournament? I think that was really smart.
Yeah, it does kind of sound like he was punished.
Is that for Eddie, you think?
Nick, no, she's just saying in general, but then this is about Eddie, about being punished for something.
You think he was time out in an ROH? I
can't quite tell what that promo, if he was confirming that he wanted to be an ROH, or if he
was saying that he got put in timeout in ROH.
Yeah, I can't tell what he means, because it's Eddie, and so it's kind of hard.
Yeah, he's been at this forever.
What he means, but regardless, I have enjoyed. I know people have been mad about him not being on TV, and I get it. But also, he's been in ROH, and I've been enjoying.
But I mean, if he's trying to work off ring rust,
he's been working off ring rust. He and Ortiz have a wrestling school, so he likes working with younger guys. He and Mance were friends. They were part of the Second Gear crew before Eddie joined AEW. He and Mance were in a faction together. So they've added Mance into it a little bit, which has been nice. So Eddie's been down there with his friends. They do tapings once a month. Has been less stress on his body, and he's still coming back from a major surgery. So I think maybe, but it also, I can't tell if what, and maybe we don't know. But regardless, I have enjoyed him in ROH.
I'm glad.
Lauren says, I think Eddie needed to be in ROH. His first couple of matches when he came back were rough. It makes sense for him to work off rust away from TV. That's my theory too, Lauren, and that's where I've been saying. And then when he said that, I was like, I can't tell if he's confirming my theory or if there is an extra layer of something happening.
But with that, you get double because you get his wrestling where he can work the rust off, and because he's such a veteran talent, he can give you all the new people or all the people that he's working with and give them the experience that that they need in ROH. And he was an ROH person, so he understands.
He was ROH champion a couple of years ago.
He understands like the brand and what it means, and working in like making sure. Because I mean, to their credit, like when WWE or other places buy things, they kind of want to make it theirs. They've left ROH to be ROH still, even though it's owned by Tony Khan. Yes, we see the obvious AEW crossover, and they defend those ROH belts a lot on the TV and so forth. However, it still seems like ROH largely feels like ROH and not an AEW offshoot. Like, it's B program or something like that. Like, it's still ROH. It's kind of kept the integrity of what the nostalgia, the member berries that everybody likes about it. It's just, well, I mean, I don't watch every pay-per-view, but I still, if I have time, I will watch ROH pay-per-views if nothing else, because they deliver. They have great wrestlers in there that are still working.
Like, and they've already announced and we'll talk about it more next week. I don't know if I'll do like a full preview, but like we'll talk a little bit more. But like they've already, I haven't watched this past week's episode, but I got caught up to the last Friday. Because they aired on Friday because of Collision. So Death Before Dishonor is the 21st, but they've already announced 4 title matches for it, and they seem to be building up a couple of other things for it. So yeah, I think Eddie has been, I think that I agree with LaRon that was the right place for him to be. And then Nikki, she said, I get that Darby stays authentic to himself, and I get it in that sense, but it's so repetitive. It is. And then Crash says,
you're supposed to grow and evolve, though, in my world. Right. Yeah. Like, you're supposed to, like,
you can be authentic. You can be authentic and evolve. Like,
and evolve and continue to progress.
They don't have to be two separate things. And yes, Kevin Knight's driving Lariat over the ropes on Darby skateboarding down the ramp at Arena Mexico was so badass. Yeah, Nikki and I popped so hard for that spot. It was so good.
It was beautiful. Thank you, Kevin Knight. Bill Kevin Knight, you did an awesome service to us that night.
Yes, thank you for that. Crash says Bang Bang Gang members were traumatized during their formative years by the tragic story of Old Yeller. Probably were.
Don't read where the red fern grows, okay?
Glad to see them get to see some doggies get adopted instead of the opposite. We have someone who has found a new channel. Great. We're glad that you were here.
Oh, we got a lot of new people. Welcome, guys. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. So we are glad that you are here. So let's see. We talked about the Continental Cup being underway. Okay. So then we also got those trios titles for titles that didn't used to get to, who were the titles that were just there taking up space. They sure do now they're getting defended more often, and they're getting, I don't want to say hot potato because not always, but I do kind of like that title can change hands at any moment. It makes it exciting compared to other titles where
they're just carrying them around.
But right, and so I like that it switches hands pretty often. I mean, what kind of kickstarted that again was obviously Powerhouse Hobbs' contract was up. He didn't re-sign. They had to hurry up and get the titles off of him because he was going to WWE. So they put it on Jet Set Radio. So it was Jet Speed and Hangman. And then it was on Jet Speed and Mystico for a minute. And then the conglomeration had it. And I feel like I'm forgetting somebody in between all of that. Maybe that is everybody. And then obviously the Demand won it. And I was like, okay, I can work with the Demand. I love Gates of Agony. I'm glad to see them. These are guys who started separately on Dark and Elevation. They have worked their way up to the main roster and are finally getting titles. And then
for whatever thing, this is probably the best version of Ricochet Ricochet's ever been. Yeah. Like, he can actually talk on a microphone for there's no more of that. He's found his thing, even if it is being a bald asshole. Like, it's
he's making it work. Awesome. He's bringing Gates of Agony up with him, who I think Gates of Agony got overlooked a lot in ROH.
Those guys are awesome.
I wanted them to be ROH tag team champions, and it didn't happen.
We've been loving on those guys for years, haven't we?
We have been.
I'm glad. I'm glad that this demand formed in a very organic way, and that
Me
Ricochet
too.
was finally able to find, because he's always been a great wrestler. It was just like finding a personality that worked for him.
Right, and I think
It turns out it was just a very
They got all the pieces together, which was really good, and then they defended their title once, and then they
Andy's
defended
got
it
his
the
muscle
second
guys
time,
that can beat the crap out of people.
They wrestled well, and then so prior to their match at Grand Slam, we had a backstage segment. Hangman comes up to Brodito, and he's like, "I don't know what I'm doing now that I can't challenge for the Men's World Championship, but I just want to wrestle and have fun. Do you want to wrestle with me so we can challenge for these trios titles?" And then Bandito tells them in Spanish that they're the good, the bad, and the ugly. And Brody is like, "Well, which one of us is the ugly one?" And they just walk away. And then they did another segment where they're talking and they're like, "Well, which?" He's like, "Okay, well, Hangman is the good. I'm big bad. Basically, I'm big bad Brody. And what are you?" And then Bandito turns his back and lifts up his mask, and Brody said, "Well, definitely not ugly." And he was like, "So I don't know." Then we got the mariachi band that brought in Hangman and Brodito. They have Kimelito with them. They're wearing sombreros. Hangman's his Chiron or lower third, whichever one you want to call it, says he wasn't sure if wearing the sombreros was problematic.
Is this appropriation?
So that was great. Then they had a really awesome match, and then we got new champions. And so now Brodito and Hangman are the champions. They did do the Macarena for like a second, and then then they got interrupted. However, the clip was long enough that AEW posted it was like it said something like "Celebrate your Friday by doing the Macarena with our new trios champions," and the clip is long enough that they start getting the moves in.
I'll get into that. That's
I saw everybody seemed really positive about them winning. Yes. I love that those Hangman things. I think Hangman. I think those are coming from Hangman directly.
I think the vasectomy one was freaking hilarious.
Yes, and then of course the Aces Millennial Cowboy.
I like that. I like when you throw in some subliminals. It's like, are you paying attention?
Yes, and Hangman has been. Somebody made a video the other night that they clipped some of their favorite Chirons that he had from Hangman. I'm like, and it's like from back when he was doing them, and I was like, I think these are coming directly from Hangman. I don't think he's trolling. I think this is Hangman being like they're asking Hangman.
If you used to watch PT, he was very clever. He would throw little stuff in there all the time. He is no dummy. Like
no, not at all.
Like he was a teacher, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. He was a graphic arts teacher.
So I really think, I'm with you.
Yeah,
I think that's like
one of the Chirons
having fun. I bet he pops himself when he does it.
Probably. One of the Chirons that popped up in that guy's video was talking about how he wasn't a very good teacher. Like
he has to be behind it.
He has to be.
That sounds like something that a school teacher would do.
It would be hilarious if it was the Bucks that were doing it. That would be
that
would almost be even funnier.
You know who would be the funniest? Actually, there's two.
Yeah.
Either Okada or Kenny Omega. Because that could also be very funny. Right. Especially because Okada's got that secret sense of humor that nobody knows about.
Oh my god, he's so fucking funny.
Those stories
the other night during the match when Mystico came out with those really cool angel wings. He looks amazing. He's standing up. And Okada's standing there like look at this guy. Like the face he's making. Then he turns around and he's singing Mystico's theme. Which was incredible.
I think Okada might be living his best life right now.
Okada,
like he did all this serious being the best wrestler in the world stuff.
He carried his hand on his back for years. Let the man be Road to Okada.
I love him.
Mystico looks so cool. Oh, he looked amazing.
That show was a lot of fun. It was exactly what you would expect from an Arena Mexico type like any show going on. It's just awesome.
That Fernando, I want that too. The Rascals looked really great last night.
They did look good
because they looked great. They've looked great every time they've come up. And then last night, we got the tag match with Zach and Xavier, and they were both like and then they called out Myron because Myron's match was next, and he was like, we've proved it. We can do trios, we can do tag, and Myron grabbed the mic and he was like, we can handle our own in singles matches. Like, we're a triple threat. We can do it all. And I do think that's coming. However, before we get to that, yes, these trios titles are definitely keeping Hangman busy, and now he's held them twice now. There is a theory that I have seen from multiple people about why this match, why they won when they did. There is a theory that people are wondering if they are defending those titles at All In against Swerve, Kofi, and Austin Creed. And so they were saying, because they're like the baby faces who are over with everybody, Swerve and Hangman have their history together. Swerve is a heel again. Are we bringing it? They need something for, they're not going to put the tag titles on Xavier and Kofi probably right out of the gate because they're going to do the Bucks title reign first. So how do you bring them in? So is Swerve the one to bring them in? Do they come in together and come for Hangman and Brodito? I don't know if that's what we're doing, but I like it. They have been saying that Hangman and Swerve both have something for All In. Nobody knows what it is yet. I do think that I do wonder if Hangman does get involved in Ospreay Omega, not as in he costs the match, but if down there too, he's there to cheerlead for Omega basically. Does Swerve fit into any of that? But it sounds like both of them are going to have a match. They can have a match against each other because they have plenty of history. And now we're seeing, and then you have, that's not to say that you don't have Kofi and Woods eventually as tag team champions, but until we get to that moment, because I don't think Motor City is getting those titles right. I think it's going to be a little bit. I think the Bucks. I don't know that the Bucks are going to have a super long reign. Maybe they get it at All In and hold it through the end of the year or something, or maybe they drop it at World's End. So in the meantime, like, how do you make? I mean, it's Xavier and Austin are obviously going to be, Xavier and Austin, Xavier and, or Austin and, I got to quit calling him Xavier because I don't think that's what he's going by. Kofi and Austin, they've got to come in. They're going to come in as a big deal, but you can make them an even bigger deal by putting them with Swerve and having them beat Hangman Adam Page and Brodito, who are two of the most over guys. And so there are three of the most over guys in that company. And if you're having them come in as maybe not necessarily heels, but not as the clean-cut baby faces that we have known for a really long time, and you want to have a different attitude when you come into a new company, you're kind of like that video called Daybreak. They're breaking away from the New Day gimmicks. They drop their horns and leave them behind. It sounds like they're leaving the New Day gimmick behind. And so that would be teaming with Swerve would be a way to make that happen. So I am super intrigued by this theory and wanted to share it with you and ask what you thought about it.
I would love that. I think that that's a really good idea. I think that Wembley is a really big venue for something. And if you are going to bring in those guys, which, the rumors are out there and I'm sure they'd be happy. I think that would be an awesome way to do it. Because
we have been trying to figure out how do you do it. Our theory was,
because the only other thing you can do is to bring them in on the next show to try and get people into the next show.
I think you can do. I think they're selling the theory because I think that if they're coming at All In, you do it after. You do it after Young Bucks after they beat Cope and Christian.
Right.
Let them have their moment of that match. That match should be just between them. Let the Bucks have their dream match because it's the only time it's going to happen. Let them have it. Then you can bring in. But you could also, I guess another way you could do it is you could have them have an open challenge, and it's answered by Swerve and Kofi and Austin. You could do it that way. You could do, like I said, that they should do the CM Punk where it's the worst kept secret in the world. Like we all know they're coming, and then we just don't know exactly when. have them show up at All In. So you could, if they're not going to have them go for the Bucks right away, then this is a way to bring them in, put them with Swerve, let them establish themselves as whatever they're going to be in AEW. You could do that.
The Bucks run, I think, is going to probably have to be a minute, just because, I mean, they're going to beat Cope and Christian, and that's going to be, like, I do want to get Motor City involved in this. I think that it was nice to see them on the TV a second time and not just, like, here they are, and then they disappear. Like, they brought them back out.
Right.
So that was nice.
Yeah. And then, Swerve. So Laurent says Swerve could bring in Kofi and Woods to team with him. And Crash says, "Well, that could be really cool."
I mean, I
keep saying that theory, and I was like, "Well, you know, it is for a way to establish themselves in a new place, in a new way, and aligning with Swerve. I mean, that's a pretty big deal. I mean, Swerve is a former world champion. Swerve is a big deal. The fans love him, so." That and they love those two. So putting the three of them together makes a lot of sense. And then you can have them defeat, because I think it makes more sense to have, because you don't want, I mean, I think the reason they had Hangman and Brodito defeat the Demand is because they didn't want them defeating the conglomeration, which, I mean, I think would have been fine. You can do babyface versus babyface for the trios, but I think that's what it was. They didn't want, they wanted to go ahead and give the Demand it, and maybe that leads into maybe that leads the Demand into a feud with them too, because they're gonna be like, you shouldn't even have those titles, and maybe that, you know, the Demand gets involved somehow as well eventually, not necessarily All In. And then this is, if you do that, then these trios titles are taken to a different level, but I don't think that's how they show up. I mean, which is fair. I know. I think there's it's kind of hard to say how exactly. I think they're going to want to, I'm sure they're having a lot of say in how they show up, because they are coming into a brand new company as a different version of themselves to try to take off the expectations that were on them beforehand. So I'm very curious of how they're going to do it. No, I didn't forget Motor City. I just don't know that. I think Motor City. I won't be surprised if Motor City is the one who defeats the Bucks to get to take the titles off of them. I won't be surprised, but I think so. In the immediate future, it's hard to say.
So that could be their first feud once they get.
This is a good point too, that the Bucks and Cope and Cage promos have all been about how they're the best tag team ever. So they say insert Kofi and Woods at the All In after the match. You could also say the same for Motor City, because it's Cope and Christian, like as far as like lineage, I mean like timeline, I should say. It's Cope and Christian, Motor City, Young Bucks, then New Day, because was New Day? I guess maybe New Day was the time. I'm trying to think of timeline.
New Day at the same time as the Bucks, or did they come before?
Because the Bucks have been teaming for so long because of the backyard stuff, and then obviously in TNA, Motor City is the reason the Bucks got hired to begin with. They had a tryout match against them. They got them the tryout match, and that's how they got hired to begin with. So there's a ton of obviously, I think we do have a Young Bucks do. Not New Day, but a match with them. I think that is a dream match that everybody has wanted to happen, because and so I think it's a generational thing. Like, you have the Young Bucks wrestle Cope and Christian. You've got the Motor City match, which they've wrestled before, but then you've got this brand new match that nobody thought would ever happen. So eventually you have to do that. I don't know if titles are on the line. I don't think they have to be on the line. Obviously that just adds to it. So there's a lot of really interesting things that can go here, but I would still just do Cope and Christian versus the Young Bucks, let them have their dream match. And then that's kind of where I was wondering, if prior to the trios thing happening, do you have Kofi and Austin show up there because of what they're like, we've been hearing you talk about the best tag team. Well, clearly that's us. But then Motor City can also make that claim. So it's really interesting how this could end up playing out. And then also, the dogs kept using the phrase who. I mean, they were saying who let the dogs out. But then he also said, who did this? And I was like, I know what it's literally what it's supposed to be, but it also feels like this is also a New Day reference too, because of the who and the dogs are obviously in the tag team division. So it felt to me like it was both.
That's interesting because
it felt like it was both, like the very literal concept of obviously the feud with.
I mean, they could do either one,
but then
Wembley's the bigger show fundamentally because it's Wembley and it's in London and there's going to be a bunch of big matches on there. However, it could get overshadowed by the Will Ospreay situation because that's a huge match. Again, it's probably going to be the main event. I mean, it's probably
they've already said it's the main event.
Okay, they've already said it. Like, I mean, it's not just Omega, Ospreay 3 or whatever because those matches have been remarkable. It's for the championship. It's in Will's backyard. I mean, do you bring them on and have them overshadowed by an incredibly huge thing because it's such a huge show? Or do you do the worst kept secret thing for the next show that you have to sell tickets to?
I mean, you could, but then, I mean, you could always go back to, I think, what was it, Double or Nothing, where was it the Double or Nothing show where they had Adam Copeland, Bryan Danielson, and Ruby Soho were all on the same show.
Yeah,
they
you're right.
all were, because we all were expecting one and got we were expecting Danielson and got Adam Cole, and then
I mean, it's hard to resist not throwing the entire everything at Wembley because of what it is.
So, because Wembley is the biggest show of the year, and
pretty much.
If you want, I'm sorry, yes, that's right. It's All Out. I don't know why I knew Double or Nothing didn't sound right. I was like, that's not the right one. Thank you. So I don't necessarily you can have multiple big moments on your biggest show of the year. I think that I understand what you're saying, but I think that you can afford to have multiple big moments, and I think fans are expecting them at All In, and if they don't deliver, I mean, you could save it for All Out. All Out is typically the sicko show anyway.
Yeah,
where Danielson got choked out with a bag. Right. That's where somebody's face got drowned into a fish tank. Mm-hmm. So you could potentially save it for there, but I also think that All In makes a ton of sense. And if they're doing the trios thing, you could do that too. Crash says that I know AEW doesn't use the teasers too much, but it would be the best thing. But it would be best doing that one with New Day. I could just be terminally online enough that I think everybody already knows they'll be at All In. Yeah, so I think you have to. I mean, there is a good argument for making them wait till All Out, but I think because All In is such a big show that you have to do something there. I mean,
you are trying to keep or get more international television deals, so. And New Day, they're
the British, the UK fans know New Day.
Well, that's it. I was with no matter what they come up with for a name, everyone's still gonna know this is New Day.
Right. This is Austin and Xavier. I mean, Austin and Kofi, and we know them. And so I think because the UK fans do have they know them. WWE wrestle. I mean, they had shows there. Clearly, they're global. Everybody knows who they are, and I think that you have to. I mean, and Chicago gets everything. Let's see. Says you could also do it on Dynamite. TK doesn't. He doesn't mind doing big things on Dynamite.
Clearly,
I would. Yeah, maybe. I wouldn't wait till after. I mean, he could, but I just feel like there's such a big deal that you have to do it. There's nothing wrong with Motor City being on Collision in their hometown. I think if it wasn't so close to All In, they would definitely do a Dynamite instead of saving it for a pay-per-view. But I don't know if I would wait. I mean, there's reasons. I mean, there's good reasons for all of those. I think debuting them All In makes the most sense. But there is something to be said for saving them for TV. And then there's also something to say for leaving them till All Out. There's reasons for all of those things, but I just feel like Tony is going to want to deliver the biggest show you can. And how do you do that? You put Omega Ospreay in the main event, and you bring in Kofi and Austin, and that's how you. And that because I that's my guess. I could be maybe maybe we're wrong. I mean, like I said, there's good. I mean, like I was saying, there's good arguments for all of those things.
For sure.
Yeah, and you could do the Bucks versus the Machine Guns. I don't know if they'll do it that fast, but it kind of depends on what they're planning to do. Because the Dogs are going to want to be involved. They're, you know, they've got some of these younger teams. They've got even just the Guns. You've got Juice and Jay, depending on assuming. But then if Jay wins, but even if Jay wins the Continental title, then you also have Austin and Ace Austin and Juice could be a tag team. So you still have that part of it. There's a million people in Don Callis family. Like you have RPG Vice. RPG Vice is going to wrestle. They're going to wrestle the Young Bucks. It's probably going to be on Collision, but that match is happening because of the history they have in Japan. And they come out on ROH, and they're referred to as the Japanese legends, is what they are referred to as. So I definitely see that match happening. It's probably a Collision where they're going to just have a banger for 20 minutes, and I'm going to be so mad that I have to cover it. Crush says that, yes, TK does usually stack all his big reveals and angles, and to be fair, in this case, it is all in after all. Yeah. Curryhead says you can do Machine Guns versus FTR all out, and you can do the Bucks versus Kofi and Austin, and I want the FTR match to be one and done and get it over with, so I don't have to watch it anymore. Crash says AEW Dynamite on September 2nd after All In is in Texas at the Union Center. Not sure if he'd hold off on New Dawn for then instead. Curryhead says this is the best time for tag team at AEW. Please do not mess this up. Yeah. Listen, the bar. Story. If you are comparing it to what is happening in WWE, the bar is on the ground because I will try not to spend too much time on talking about WWE. I already have, but the tag team, there are currently like 4 tag teams on SmackDown. Johnny Gargano is still planking. He's not wrestling. They have Fraxium. I think Los Garza's actually moved over to Raw, and they're actually more in AAA as it is. Then you have Damian Priest and R-Truth, who are the current champions. Then you have the War Raiders, who are the AAA tag team champions. And I think I'm missing one more team. So I think it's 4 teams. Then over on Raw, it's basically non-existent. So it's really hard. Like, you can put in like minimal effort and still be better. But now you have some of the best tag teams in wrestling over the decades. Like, not even like, you have all of them. Like, you've got Cope and Christian, and you've got the Young Bucks, you've got Motor City, you've got the Dogs, you will have Kofi and Austin, you've got Gates of Agony, you have
the
Rascals. There's so many different things that you can do.
They've got a lot going on right now, actually.
Yeah, there's a lot. Compared to where the tag team division was in 2024 when Motor City went to WWE instead, which was only slightly, they were about the same. The tag team division in 2024 to what it looks like now has had like a complete overhaul, thankfully. And this is probably the best tag team division they've ever had once we get everybody going. When I jump to my feet, don't leave the ground. That's how the WWE tag team scene is right now. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. Maria says that she would wait to debut them, New Day or Daybreak, which was really interesting. So there's several different things. I'm not the booker, so but I think there's arguments to be made for all of them, but I think
you could do either. I mean, there'll be a draw no matter what, but it just seems like that's going to be a overly stacked, more than usual stacked show.
Yes. And then so also on Grand Slam Mexico, I kept saying if he's healthy, MJF will be at that show. And then yes, before I get any further, LaRon, God, yes. Now if they can just give some help and support to the women's tag team division. Your men are stacked. You're set. Let's look at the women's tag team division. Tony he did say unprompted on the last media call that he was looking at continuing to build the women's tag team division. I don't know how long that's going to take or what he means by that, but he at least has mentioned it publicly. So we shall see. how that plays out. But yes, please help them. Please. They're gonna have to do something with Hyon. Hyon can't keep tagging with the TBS champion. She's gonna have to find a new partner. let Maya go away from the tag team division for a little bit and let Hyon find something else to do, or send her to ROH and let her, wrestle for the TV title or something. But yes, they do. Anyway, so MJF, maybe not healthy enough to wrestle, but he was healthy enough to be in the ring. He comes out after Andrade is now because Andrade won. What is he? The number one entrant into the gauntlet match at All In.
Gauntlet match,
and the winner of that gauntlet match gets the shot. At the world champion. So essentially, we could put. I don't think they will, but if Andrade wins, you could potentially be having champion versus champion again. You don't have to put your champions in the gauntlet match. You have enough people on your roster. You don't have to put any champions in your gauntlet matches, or let alone let them win. I was like, you could have had Commander win that match, and the Grand Slam Mexico fans would have been fine with it. You could have had, and Tommaso was said before that he's like, I don't care where I enter in the match as long as I win. And just because they didn't qualify to become number one doesn't mean they won't be in the match. I'm sure they both will. But MJF came back, and he's mad because Andrade not only has the title, but he also has his ring. He did get his ring back. And now we're doing the MJF angle, which makes sense for MJF. But now we're doing the angle of I'm the real champion. Kenny only won because of Ospreay. And I was like, please don't do this. I hate these. We already did the story with Jay White where we did the fake champion storyline, and it was awful, and we wasted Jay White. We wasted so much time with him. And again, for MJF as a character, it makes sense for him to say, I'm screwed. This is my title. But I am also not thrilled about where this could potentially be leading. Do you have any thoughts on this? Do you think it's just going to be a thing of just MJF, or do you think they're going to do something about it? Like where MJF gets to wrestle Will Ospreay?
I guess it's possible, and I know that that's kind of popular, and I know that a lot of people love MJF. I hope that they don't do that, because I like... God, I don't know. He seems like, I guess, the next logical challenger, because it's not like Moxley and Will are going to go right straight after each other, and I don't know if Swerve and Hangman are going to jump right back in that picture, and so I guess the most logical move is that they're going to bring MJF in there and do the, I want my Triple B back and all of these things thing, but I don't know how many times we can go through that, and maybe he should try something else. Definitely don't go the route of the devil,
I think I think even MJF, because MJF has gone on record saying that was his words was it was the drizzling shit.
What they should do is have Will beat MJF and have him kind of disappear for a little while with this injury if he is going to challenge him.
Make another movie.
Shut him down and make him come back and win it a little later, where he thinks he's going to come and maybe he gets in way overconfident or even Andrade comes in and smashes him down with the ring. I mean,
well, MJF did leave with his ring.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So he does have his ring back.
He's got his ring back. So yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do it fast and get him over with. Have Will be like, I'm not doing this.
I could see that potentially being the all-out match if that's what they're doing with the storyline. Maybe you have, since Ospreay is clearly winning,
and that might be Tony's knee-jerk because MJF is such a huge piece of AEW and people do love him largely. That might just be Tony's.
But he's had a great year. This second run was way better than the first one.
Yes.
He's definitely operating at a different version of himself, a different level. He's having really great matches. His promos are much better than they were.
Way better.
They could do the thing where, so if Ospreay wins, then he'll be like, oh, well, you only got that because you helped Omega, but you were just helping Omega because you wanted the title. So now I'm coming for you because I'm still the real champion. Then we have our match at All Out. Ospreay retains, and then we find something else. And then, like you said, maybe MJF goes away for a little bit. But then, well, first, I will go to this comment that made me laugh. That you'll be happy to know that Psycho Killer Tommaso Ciampa has rechristened his knee finisher the Psycho knee.
Cute.
So now we have both the Psycho knee and the Psycho knee.
The second knee.
Which I thought was fun.
How am I gonna spell it all?
So don't get mad at me if I'm doing Collision and I accidentally write Psycho knee instead of a Psycho knee. That's so funny.
I blame Crash.
Oh God, that's so funny. I can't. Oh, great. Thank you for that. I think I missed that. So thank you for filling me in on that. It says, I thought MJF mistakenly gave away that he was facing at Andrade all in during his promo. Yeah, he kind of. I think he means in the gauntlet match. It does sound like. And apparently, I saw something the other day. The plan for MJF to be in this gauntlet match has probably been in the works for a little bit. I don't know. I could see. But then what do? You can't have. I mean, I guess he wins. If he beats Andrade, then I don't want Andrade. Yeah, I'm with Maria. That Andrade needs to hold that belt for a little while. He's so over right really now, over. And he's not getting a shot at the world title anytime soon. His feud with MJF has been really good, and it's kind of unfinished. So. Yeah, and that's kind of what I wondered too. If Swerve would be in the gauntlet, and he could, and if he wins, we know Swerve has history with Omega and Ospreay. Yeah, I kind of wondered when that gauntlet match was first announced. I was like, is this how they bring Swerve back? And like you said, Swerve could win because he has history with both of them. So that's definitely something that I would rather have Swerve win than MJF. But if I'm not mistaken. It's just a future title match, right? It's not a title match at All Out, so I
think that's right.
So then they could do MJF if that's where they're going. They could do MJF versus Ospreay. Ospreay, definitely proves that he is the real world champion. Then you move on to Ospreay and Swerve for Wrestle Dream. That's the October pay-per-view, right?
Yes.
And then Full Gear. Full Gear has a lot of history for Swerve, though. Full Gear is not till November, but it has a lot of. And Full Gear is named after Hangman, so from that BTE bit. But Swerve has a lot of history at Full Gear. So do you hold it off till then? I mean, you could do Wrestle Dream. So it's nice to kind of not know where things are going. Yes, that move that Commander did was fire.
It's
yeah,
great.
Commander's so good. He was
so
ROH
awesome.
champion
that
for a while.
In Detroit was awesome.
He was killing it down in ROH, and that is another person that Tony Khan loves. He loves him some Bandito, and he loves Darby, but he loves Commander too. I know he and Tony were together at the Comic-Con thing that he was talking about, and then I don't know. So I don't know. Is Swerve waiting to recruit Austin and Kofi? Is that what he's waiting for? Is he going to show up with them, or is he coming back in the gauntlet match? Maybe he makes his return there. Do you have him off of TV that long? So you've already had him off of the TV this long. I guess he could. Yes, Swerve does have something to settle with Mox as well. Yes, so Swerve has so many things that he could be doing whenever they put him back on TV. They've got a lot of things for him to do, which is good. You should have a lot of things for Swerve to do.
It's great.
Just, getting him on TV to do them.
Correct.
Yes, so lots of interesting things happening. And I'm really excited. I mean, All In's always a fun time.
It's going to be a really good
show,
I
mean, we did have Redemption that kind of was a bump in the road and should be a TV special next year, but the build has really been picking up. The Commander nailing the flute mid-fall too, so much fun. Yeah, I love that guy. I get having Andrade win. I understand, but also I think you could have had Commander win, and I think those fans would have been fine with it.
It was such a good. It was just fun.
Really
Commander
good.
was great. That Moxley Commander match that we saw was freaking amazing.
I'm hoping that's why. Yeah, because it sounds like just because Commander just because it's not like he can't be in the match. It's just he won't be number one.
Right.
And neither will Tommaso. So it sounds like Tommaso will be in the match regardless, but you could put Commander back in there too.
Yeah, but that's okay because you need your Ishii guys.
Yes.
You need those guys that can get everybody over and that can always wrestle, and that if you need to bring them in for something because somebody can't do it, you need those guys. Like, Ishii wasn't like, oh, I'm the champion. I mean, that became like the thing way later after people wrote about it. John Muse wrote about it, and I mean, but I mean, you need those guys that are, you're like, just that guy is always going to come through for me.
Yeah.
And some of those guys are really kind of, that's a great role. I mean, Ciampa is a perfect person to have in that role.
Yeah, and I think
he can do big matches or mid-card matches.
I think that's kind of, he knew what his role was going to be coming into this.
Yeah.
Although,
and he's getting to do whatever he wants with his personality, which I feel like is awesome for him.
And also, speaking of people getting matches, apparently Chris Jericho wants to work with Kevin Knight. Now we're getting Kevin Knight versus Chris Jericho next week. I was like,
of course we are.
Because the first one I had when they were saying, I was like, who asked for this? And I was like, Jericho.
Jericho,
he sees a young talent, a hot young talent. He's got to get in the ring with him.
Let me just hitch my wagon to that fame
because
I love it.
Now.
I am the greatest person at doing that.
LaRon, I'm coming back to your comment in just a second. But Crash said, speaking of great moves, Myron Reed turning the ultimate weapon from Speedball into Cutter. Holy shit. Yeah. Myron Reed, I've been saying, Myron Reed is my favorite from the Rascals. I think and that's not to say that Wentz and Desmond Xavier are not good, because they clearly are.
They are.
But to me, Myron is the best of the three. Before Myron was even in the Rascals, I was a huge fan of him.
Well, that's what I was saying. Is I used to see him. He was always at the Evolve shows, and he would stand in the back with the General Mission people, and we'd all be watching wrestling together. And it's like he's like a student of the game, as it were. And so when you watch, he's like one of those guys that'll just fly under the radar forever, because he's just, it was like Ace Austin last night. Like, they're so good, and it's like, oh yeah, I've seen that guy a million times. They're so great. Oh, it's so good to get them with Shine on them.
Actually, Myron. I think did Myron come to PWX? I want to say he was there at least once, but Ace, that's how I saw him. He was in a tag team. It was Scarlet and Grace.
Yeah.
I mean, no, not Scarlet and Grace. But Ace was in a tag team when I first started seeing him, and he was doing the flip where he had, and because he's not bringing out that stick that he had. He was bringing, and he's used an AEW a few times, but that was his PWX entrance. He was doing that then, and I was been a fan of his since I first saw him, and I think Myron is fantastic.
Yeah.
I really love that guy.
It's just, I'm so glad that there's a place like this where they can actually go shine.
Me too.
So
yes,
awesome.
one and done, please. TK versus regarding Jericho versus Kevin Knight. Yeah, get it over with. Yes, the wrestling. That is correct. He is the wrestling favorite.
You got me. That was very nice.
I'm coming back to your comment, because I want to talk. I want to talk about it. But since we were talking about, before we move on, what match are you looking for? What match All In are you looking forward to seeing or waiting for them to announce?
I want a Jay White match on this.
That's what you're waiting for. I would love to see. I hope it's Jay White versus Jon Moxley in the finals. But I am most looking forward to Willow and Mercedes, because there's ways that this, like, first of all, the match is going to be great. The two of them are so good together. Their matches together are really good. I know it looks very. We've been having this conversation for weeks. It looks super obvious on who's winning, and maybe Mercedes is winning. But you have ways to have Willow win and continue a story. You could have Willow win, have the longer title, a little bit longer title reign. Maybe, hopefully, give Mercedes the crash out that we had been I don't want to say promised, but it was heavily hinted we were getting. You could send her on that way. However, I also understand that Mercedes needs that title. But also Willow. I want Willow to... do you have two... we talked about last week. Do you have two transitional champions lose their titles on All In? Do you have both Kenny Omega and Willow Nightingale lose their titles? on All In. And again, you cannot go wrong with Mercedes Moné winning that title, and she's got to win it soon. But also, I don't want a short title. As much as I don't want a short title reign for Kenny Omega, I don't want a short title reign for Willow. And I know, like I said, I know it's super obvious that it looks like it's going to be Mercedes, and I will not be mad. But I'm really looking forward to the match itself. But I'm looking forward to what they do with who wins, and then what the plan is after that. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. And I mean, of course, I'm looking forward to Omega Ospreay. I mean, I know Ospreay's winning. I want Omega to retain, but I know what's going to happen. But I know that match is going to be very good. And
yeah, I mean, I'm totally looking forward to that because that's the 3, and it's, that I think the Brawling Birds are going to have a really good time doing what they do in their home area, in one of their home areas. I think that that's going to be a lot of fun.
And then you've got to figure out, what are you doing after that? How are you keeping the Brawling Birds? What are we doing with the women's tag division?
Right, yeah,
that?
we do need to
but
work on
then you
the
also
tag
have
team.
kind of the alliance with Mercedes and Divine Dominion. I like that. I don't see them necessarily being a full stable. Maybe they're just kind of like with Mercedes and Athena. They are allies when they need to be. They don't have to be allies all the time. Even though if Mercedes wanted to start a women's stable with Divine Dominion, like I wouldn't, to kind of rival Triangle of Madness, like I wouldn't be mad at that. If that's what they wanted to do.
Now, is Okada on this card? Is he
not yet? The rumor has been that it's gonna be Okada versus Takeshita versus Kyle Fletcher for the international title.
Oh my gosh! So the ultimate we hate each other turn like
that's been the rumor. Let me take that back. That's been a fan rumor.
Okay, so that's fantasy booking.
A fantasy booking. I don't know if that's been the rumor from like the dirt sheets, or if it's been the rumor from
because that's the kind of match I would be, if that's something that hasn't been added that I would like to see. I need an Okada match. I'm all for whatever it looks like.
I'm sure it's happening because so G1 is wrapping up. It ends 16 days before All In, and they, for once, they were like, "Oh, hey, Takeshita is in the G1. Let's show a little video package of that."
Right. Oh yeah, remember him? We still have him.
Yeah, remember him? That's where he's been.
He's getting better again.
Yeah. Laurent says, I don't know if Mercedes is winning at All In, but no matter what happens, the feud needs to continue with Willow ultimately going over. I'm with you, Laurent. I am with you. I also am with you on this. I would love to see Commander.
Me too. That'd be awesome.
Because he's amazing, and also
get
Darby away from that damn title. Find him something else to do.
Give someone else the TNT title.
Right, but I would love to see Commander with it. I think Kevin's done a great job.
That's a really good idea, actually. I like that.
I would not be mad at that.
Sign me up for that.
Crash, I will answer. I'm coming back to you and Laurent, I promise. But I need to mute my camera. I need to mute for just 1 second. Nikki needs to borrow my keys. So I'm gonna just hand that to her real quick.
It's just gonna be you and me.
She's gotta go help my aunt. And so my keys are in my purse, so I'm gonna just hand them to her real quick. But I will talk amongst yourself.
All right, I got them. It's just you and me, guys, and Keela Cash's avatar that's stuck on Sam's Powerbombshells window. I totally agree with you. I would love to see Commander be the person. I would love to see Commander wrestle everyone. I agree with Sam on, like, it doesn't need to be Darby. Darby doesn't need a title right now. And, like, that is, you know what? I forgot all about Tekla. We need Tekla to come back and be part of the women's division booking because she was so incredibly amazing. And having her just disappear entirely would be a true bummer. They have such a stacked, Laurent, you said it, they have such a stacked women's division, and they should be using these people. You've got Tekla in the wings. Like, we don't need to wait for Toni Storm to come back. She'll always be amazing. Like, let's see some storylines with these people. I think that, God, this women's division could be booked amazingly well.
It could. And
I mean, I know could, but there are so many. It's not like they have a roster full of, like, we picked up some pretty girls who can kind of do some moves and flips. They actually have wrestlers in their women's division.
Right.
And I mean, I gotta say this, like, and I love it, but I love Paul White, but there's still the boys on the microphone when they're working at the table. Sometimes these girls know how to wrestle, and I'm like, guys, just call it like a real wrestling match.
Well, I mean, there's so many times that Tony Schiavone would be like, "This is a great women's match," and Excalibur's like, "This is a great match." Like, he's very quick.
Paul White did a little. Tony Schiavone is very guilty of it. I'm like, when the women are on, can we give the mic to like Excalibur and almost anybody else?
Jon Moxley, my God, Jon Moxley is so good at putting women over. I mean, now, of course, he's good at putting like everybody over. He
does it the same. He's good at putting everyone over, and he treats the women like wrestlers.
Right. He's very good at putting women over.
It's so easy to
He talks about like what their strengths are, what they're good at doing. How you should, like, he's very good at that.
Very good. Everyone needs to take a message.
One day when Jon Moxley decides that when his body is just like, we can't do this anymore.
No more.
Then put him on.
You can only sit at this desk, sir. But do it amazingly.
Thankfully, he was not on commentary to distract me last night.
I know, he is funny when he's on commentary, though. He always says the craziest stuff.
So Crash says that Divine Dominion are like hired guns. Speaking of, what is going on with STP paying off the Hurt Syndicate? What's going on? Yeah, I'm really curious because so that goes back to a few months ago when MVP said that they weren't going for the tag team titles, and people got mad at that, which I can understand. But on the other hand, like, if we're not doing if they're not going to be in the tag team title division, give them something else to do. And then it seemed like they were going to maybe be hired guns. And now Tony was like, oh yeah, I forgot we said that. Let's go back to that. And so I'm very curious. STP has also been trying to recruit the Dante and Darius away from Skyflight. They are telling them, like, they're not, look, you're in the same position you were in, like, the whole time you've been here. Like, Christopher Daniels isn't helping you. Matt Sydal is here now, but they're not helping you. Come be with us. And then I haven't watched last week's episode, but I do know the STP apparently added Tahuti Miles to their faction. And Tahuti was in WWE not very long. I don't think he was on TV, but maybe a couple of times, if that. He's been down in ROH. I enjoy what I've seen of him. I'm not sure how he fits in with STP, but if STP has recruited him, they clearly see something. So yeah, I don't know. That's really interesting, and I wonder if that comes into play leading into All In and like the tag stuff there. So I'm very curious to see how that plays out. And Laurent said, I wish they had a woman on commentary. Why haven't they hired Veda Scott for at least Collision? Which is funny because so Laurent and I actually kind of had this conversation the other day. Collins was talking about that and why they haven't hired Veda. So way back when Collision was about to start, I asked Tony on the media call, had he considered hiring a woman for commentary? And he brought up Veda. And then he was like, but we're looking at everything. And then he brought up Kevin Kelly, and we clearly know Kevin Kelly is the one who he ended up hiring. And then we know how that went. Now we know how well that worked out for them. But I would love to see Veda.
I would absolutely 100% love to have a lady's voice on the microphone, and Veda is just right there. So it seems to make all the sense in the world.
Yeah, I agree.
I would love to see more women doing stuff like that. I love that Renee Paquette has such a great influence on the backstage. She's really brought the gals that are working in the commentary, they're getting involved more, they're reacting better. Like, she's had a great influence on that. That needs to, like, translate to the table.
Right.
I don't think in this world, like right now, today, in 2026, in 8 months, that there isn't a lady that can sit down, Veda or otherwise, that can do that stuff, and that would bring a lot of authenticity. Like, it would reinforce that the women's division is important, because if you actually listen around now to sports, there's a lot of ladies doing broadcasting now. It used to be just the one or two ladies at basketball. Right. There's a lot of them, or tennis. Right. Now we get football announcers. Now we get, like, the gal that runs the Premier League. She's like the there's actually two of them
Right.
who run the table. They're the
Yeah.
lead anchor on the, the pre-show and the halftime shows and all that stuff, and they're awesome.
Right.
And
yeah.
I mean, it's for me, it's like way past due because I've been playing sports since I was
Yeah.
such a small,
Yeah,
and it was
for
last
sure.
century. And like, again, I remember going to sports when the line at the girls' bathroom was empty. Those
Right.
days are over. We all have
Right.
to wait in line just like the boys now.
Right. And like they've got Swole on commentary with Chris Lee.
Well, and there you go, because Chris Lee's the perfect person to guide her when she needs to learn. Because he's so good at it.
And Swole is big Swole. Like, she has a ton of personality.
Well, yeah, she knows
charisma.
wrestling.
She was a wrestler. She was a wrestler. She's married to a wrestler.
Right. A technical one, no less.
Yes. So they
One
could
that can do
that.
both.
Yes. LaRon said, would Renee be interested in doing the commentary? I don't know, because she didn't want to do it. From what I remember, she didn't want to do commentary in WWE.
That's what I remember,
They
too.
made her, and then they screamed at her the entire time in her ear. And so I don't know. I mean, maybe because AEW is such a different environment, maybe it is something she'd be interested in doing. But also, like, I think it also has to be like balancing with being a mom, because like she does Dynamite. She doesn't really do Collision. It's usually Lexi on Collision, because she has a kid, and so the child can't travel all the time with her,
and
John.
she has other stuff she does too.
So yeah, she has other stuff that she does. So that's a really good question. If I think
she'd be great at it.
Maybe she'd be more open to it, because AEW is such a different environment, and she's not going to get screamed at in her ear and things like that. And so
I like her role as like backstage or like locker room.
I like her doing the interview. Yeah, I love the sit down interview. She's a journalist, so she's really good at doing that type of stuff. So totally. I
think she works for the Bengals. Is it?
She was doing some of the stuff with the Bengals. She was doing she has a podcast.
She's a busy lady
with those. So that's an interesting question. Yeah, you know what? Maybe it is. LaRon, maybe it is time to ask him to revisit.
Why don't you have a lady on the table?
Or what
lady would you like want?
Or could you see Renee being on commentary if that was something she was interested in?
Or bringing in, or Renee, or adding someone like Veda to that situation.
Yeah. Crash says, yeah, the lady on Ashe. Yep, that's Big Swole. She's excellent. She's got a great flow and a tone to her voice. Yeah, Swole is. So it started out when Ashe first started, she was the host, because they had D'Lo Brown on commentary for that show. It was the first one. But then they added her to, I think she started commentary. If it wasn't the second show, it's been early on. And then it's her and Chris. And so Chris Lee, obviously we've had on the show before, but Chris is a sportscaster for WRAL, which is is the big station up in Raleigh. And he's actually he won he's been in Canton. He's been covering Luke Kuechly getting inducted into the Football Hall of Fame. He was there this weekend. Yeah, he's got some really good footage over on his Instagram. He got I know LaRon will know who this is. They have he interviewed Carolina Mike. They had Carolina Mike do. Apparently, they brought in Carolina Mike to do. Actually, the National Football Hall of Fame brought in Carolina Mike to do a Luke Kuechly version of his song, and then he sang it. And Chris Lee and his co-host Pat are like dancing in the background, like while Carolina Mike is singing. It's great. And then so Chris and Swole are really great together. They're so much fun. I really enjoy them. Crash said, when I heard her report, it reminded me a little bit of Keela, but don't think from the same state exactly. I can't remember where Swole and Cedric did move back to Charlotte like a couple of months ago, and they lived in Charlotte previously. I can't remember if Swole is from, I feel like she was Florida, maybe? I mean, they were living in Florida when he was in WWE. I can't remember off the top of my head where she's from. Definitely from the South, though. So that's probably where because Keela's in Atlanta. So definitely from the South, but they're back here in Charlotte now. They moved back to Charlotte a few months ago. And I saw their daughter. She comes to their shows, and it's insane because she is 12. going on 17.
That sounds about right.
She is almost taller than Swole if she's not already. I was talking to her I talked to her at the last Sashay show, and I was like, it's so insane. I'm sure you hear this all the time. I was like, but like, I remember when your mom was pregnant with you. Like she came. Cedric was the PWX champion. He brought your mom into the ring when she was pregnant with you. She also brought you to the shows and the strollers. Like, so I have seen you.
Yeah, crazy, isn't it?
She said that sometimes people will be like, I saw you when you were on the Mae Young Classic, because Swole was in the Mae Young Classic and Cedric was holding her. And so people were like, that's how I know. And she's like, oh yeah, I totally remember. She was like, I don't. She also has a ton of personality like her parents too.
That's
awesome. His crush said, I think the accent was different, but terrible with accents and placing them, especially from abroad. I get it. No, I totally get it. They are both from the South, though, so you do have that part right.
Yeah, you have enough accents in your own place to deal with without trying to deal with ours, too.
Right.
The East and the West of Ireland are totally different.
Right.
Totally different. It's pretty funny. Actually, my favorite, like where my family is originally from in Cork, they sound even funnier, and it's a big joke. And, you know, Cork people brag about being from Cork, so it's a big funny thing anyway. Like I found my spirit midfielder in Roy Keane, who is also from Cork, so it's just the best. I'm like, oh, yay. But there's a bunch of jokes about it because they have, yep, see, you know. Yeah, I knew you would, but that was funny because that was the one time when we were in Ireland where Bob actually had to look at me and be like, do you understand what she's saying? And I was like, I totally do.
Well, there's some things, and there's also, and I'm sure it happens in other places too, but there's definitely, and I think it happens, I've been told it happens with me, that the more I drink, the more my accent comes out.
The drink and the angry. It's,
yeah.
We talked about, my cousin actually nailed this down because he's from the Boston area. And we always joke that his accent gets thicker the drunker and the angrier. It's when those two things bring you, if you have an accent, those two things seem to make your accent just because they drop kayfabe for you in a way. Because like actually, alcohol and anger kind of do similar things to your brain when they short it out.
Right.
So it makes sense why. And so our favorite thing was like when because we were like, we can always tell where you are because of how thick the Boston comes out in you. And it's. I like it. I think it's cool, and I like trying to place dialects and stuff because I am an actual language nerd. But it is funny how even, like, the whole South, you guys all have Southern accents, but you sound totally different.
Yep. Even within my own state.
Everyone they're like, oh, they sound the same. No, they don't. A Texan and a South Carolinian and a North Carolinian sound completely different. Well,
and also, if you're talking to somebody from Charlotte versus talking to somebody from the Appalachia area, or just even in the rural area of here, like I have the accent definitely changes between,
they get thick.
And then even to the coast, there's definitely changes. And then like in my case, like I took my degree is in journalism and communications, I took a voice and diction class and didn't realize how much of that changed my the way I pronounce things until I took that class. And like I have been mistaken a couple of times for being from the Midwest.
I was just going to say, because they teach you to sound like Midwesterners when you're in journalism school. And I know why now that I've lived here for over a decade. Mm-hmm. Because this is the accent, which is a kind of a non-accent. It's more about how things are phrased. Like they end sentences in at, or they put an S on like Targets and Kmart's. And
we put the S's.
I know you do. But there's this like, I know in journalism class when they teach you diction, they try to teach you how to sound like a Midwesterner because it's the most standardized sort of universal accent that people are, and it's because Midwesterners are stupid friendly. And I've told you guys this before, as long as you show up and bring something for the community cooler and you know somebody at the party, come on in. We're great. Right. So that's why. It's because we have that neutral.
Yeah, they are really make sure that you like pronounce you end your words, like you put the D and the T
on the, like, it's you guys.
Yeah, like you definitely make sure that you put like an ending, and like some of it, like, I obviously had to do for class, so I would pass the class, and then some of it I didn't realize, and Nikki even points it out. She was like, when you say certain words, she was like, you can hear.
It's more like chowda.
Yes,
where I'm from, we say chowda.
Yeah.
But also, like in Maine, where I'm originally from,
that episode that you're referencing, Crash. That episode I just saw like a week or two, like, or maybe a couple of weeks ago. It was on, and there used to be. So I don't know that the game is there anymore. There was a game called Tapped Out. It was a mobile game of The Simpsons. And Nikki and I used to play it, and our cousin used to play it. And like, this was recent, within like the last like 7 or 8 years. But it was always like voice, it was stuff like that. And so I would hear all these references and not have the context because I wasn't like a regular Simpsons watcher. And then, so now it's funny to go back and watch episodes and then hear the clips and the chowder. That chowder clip is on there. Like if you would click on Quimby, like that was one, because most of them had like 3 or 4 sayings. Obviously the major characters had more, but like the side characters would only have like several quotes, and the chowder quote was one of the ones that he used to say. So it's really funny to hear. It's so in the Midwest we say pop. Soda here.
In the Midwest it's pop. In the Northeast it's soda. If you say soda here, they think you're talking about tonic because it's pop. And down south, I've realized most of the southern states, it's Coke or pop.
I think that's a myth. I don't think so. I think people say, you say Coke, and I think most people say soda, or they say this, but they're like, it's Coke, and I'm like, no. Every time I hear it in southern states, it's the whatever drink it is. They don't say just Coke. They say, I mean, maybe it is certain places, but
maybe
that has been
Virginia. Like, because they used to do that when I was in Virginia, where a lot of them were just like, I'll have a Coke, and then it's like, what flavor? Like, what kind?
Right. I think most people, and at least that I've come across, and even not just in my own state, but I hear people, they will ask for the specific, like, whatever the soda is. They ask for the name brand, not just Coke, and assume everything is like what flavor. I mean, I guess maybe it's some, but I think that's definitely, maybe it is. Maybe, obviously, it's different.
You're places. Totally. I mean, all the different.
I mean, they're different, and like, I mean, because of course, like the different things for what a shopping cart is called.
A buggy.
A buggy. Yeah, we call it a buggy. We've always called it a buggy.
Or a water fountain, the bubbler.
Oh, I've never heard that.
That's here. They call it bubbler here.
I have never heard that. It's always the water fountain.
Yep. Always a water fountain for me. The bubbler here. I was like, what? It's hilarious.
Yes. Right. And he said, like, you guys call crisps chips, where that reminds me. So every time I hear crisps, it makes me think of Chris Sabin, because he said that he was going to have his own and they were going to be called Crisp Sabin. That's what he was going to call them.
Better Made, if you're listening, he's a Michigan local, you're a Michigan brand. Make these crisps right now. I want crisp coffee. I want Better Made crisp Savins. That needs to happen. That needs to be a thing.
Yes, Tony, make it happen. And he said, well, we call them Crips here in Dublin, not Crips. That's not a typo, like the gang. Crips.
I get it. That's funny.
And yes, in Dublin, he would be called Crips Savin. That's why he...
Cripses. That'd be amazing.
So we got not way off topic, but I do want to circle back. I told LaRon I was coming back to this comment, and I meant it. I promise. Oh, yes, he was... Hootie was Shante the Adonis. And they did some stuff with him, so not a couple of times. He was on there a little bit more. But also, they tried to do... I think what I was thinking of a couple of times, I was thinking of when him and Cedric, they were going to make them a tag team, and they cut a couple of vignettes, and then nothing ever happened of it, and they both got released. So, but then, yes. So, LaRon said a little bit ago, back when we were talking about some of the women's stuff, when we were talking about All In, I just had that comment. Where did it go? Yes. LaRon says, when we were talking about Wrestle Dream, that the Wrestle Dream pay-per-view main event should go to the women. I would like to see it this year, because we're running out of reasons not to do it. And I think would be interesting. LaRon, I'm going to ask you your opinion on this. Do you think they'll wait for Bayley? And do you think it'll be that they're waiting for Bayley and they're going to make it be Bayley and Mercedes being the main event? Do you think they're waiting for her? Because I'm wondering if that's kind of the next thing is if he keeps saying it's got to be a reason. Women can't main event, but just the main event has to be a reason. Well, we've had several stories with reasons and it hasn't happened yet. So now at this point, because the only reason I'm asking specifically about that is because, we know Mercedes likes to troll, but a few weeks ago, before the Lyra Bayley story happened, she posted the graphic. She made up a Wrestle Dream graphic that was her versus Bayley at Wrestle Dream. Wrestle Dream is in October. Allegedly, that's when Bayley's contract is up. Bayley has not been, even though she's wrestled a house show, she has not wrestled on TV since she lost to Lyra. Lyra keeps saying on TV, in the commercials, because that's where they put her. They don't put her on TV. But she has said she's ended Bayley. Bayley's done. Bayley's not coming back. Which, of course, that could be leading to Bayley coming back. But also, from what I have heard, Bayley is not 100% that she's coming back to WWE. She's not really telling anybody what her plans are. Nobody is. I would think if she's telling anybody, it's Mercedes knows one way or another. And she keeps trying. Bayley before kept trying to get Mercedes to come home, and Mercedes keeps saying, "I am home." Bayley has come to AEW shows before. She comes to support Mercedes. She has gone to different things with her. And Tony has said he doesn't talk to people about contracts from other companies when they come to his shows. They're just there to he doesn't bother them about that. So I'm very curious if that's the match that they're waiting. Does Tony know that she's coming? So are we waiting? Are we promising you get to be in the first women's main event if you come? You can be in it with your best friend. Are they putting Bayley and Mercedes in the tag team division because of what happened with the tag team titles in WWE, where they worked their asses off to get them and then they didn't even win the titles? And then they did have them and then it was a joke. Are they coming? Is Bayley coming to be a tag team wrestler with Mercedes and they're going to run the tag division for a little bit? Or are they going to be singles? So there's some possibilities. Laurent says if Bayley is smart, she would leave. Yes. What else is there for her to do besides main event WrestleMania, which is not going to happen? Women are not going to wrestle main event WrestleMania anytime in the foreseeable future. They will have another Evolution show before that happens, I think. Bayley, and I understand. That's all Bayley has known for a really, really long time. Right. But also, look at the way women are being booked in that company and have been booked on a regular basis for a while. Why would you stay? And look at the way they treat you. When you had the WrestleMania match a couple of years ago, it took CM Punk talking about it publicly for WWE to be like, oh yeah, Bayley won. And Bayley has this match. They don't care. They keep treating they give Bayley crap storylines. They seem to have one storyline that was building with her and they dropped it. And so there's no reason for her to stay. But we also know she's been there for a really long time and it's hard to break free of that mentality. So I would agree. I hope she comes. So if that's the case, then Mercedes loses to Willow because Mercedes versus Bayley doesn't need the title. You think they do a main event without a title, though? I think that would have to be a title. If they're going to main event a show, I think it would have to be for the title. I think Tony's not just going to do a random main event for no title, for a grudge match, per se.
If he wasn't going to do it for the storybook ending, he's not going to do it.
Well, he didn't do it for the storybook ending because he was mad that Mariah May was
I know.
Had Mariah May not left,
they would have done it.
But it's still stupid. It should have been the main event. To me, it is the real main event. Punishing fans because you're mad at a wrestler is stupid and petty. But that's the only reason that match didn't main event.
Yeah.
Laurent said, let's be real, Mercedes and Willow is big enough to match to main event a pay-per-view. Jake Hager has more AEW pay-per-view main events than Tony and Mercedes combined. Jake effing Hager. That is sad. In a pay-per-view, though? Has he done, or am I really, maybe I am just maybe, has it been? Do you think fans would be accepting of a women's main event without a title? Wait, is that yes to the non-title main event question, or is that yes to what I just said? I know our things are kind of on a delay, and so, okay. I will go find it, LaRon. I will go find your thread. Because Twitter doesn't show me stuff. Because I use it less and less because I try not to be involved over there.
Yeah.
And so now they don't show me things. Okay. Yes to the non-title match. Yes, Mercedes versus Bayley, definitely. Fernando says, I'm sorry, the whole certain matches not needing titles is getting a little old. Mercedes versus Bayley has to be for a women's title match. But if you do that, win. Because if assuming Willow retains, let's just go with that scenario. If Willow retains and holds the title for a bit longer, do you risk the possibility of not having the women main event pay-per-view this year so that they can main event Bayley and Mercedes sometime any show, sometime next year, like Revolution or something? Do you risk waiting that long so that Willow has the longer title reign? And just be like, well, we'll go into year 8 without having women main event? But I feel like Willow is worthy of a main event. And I feel like Willow could defend a title in a main event, but I do know that Mercedes versus Bayley is clearly, that's the big money match. Anywhere, it should main event wherever it happens. But I also think that Willow she's super over. She's been a beloved person in that company for 5 years, and she's worthy of a main event. But does Tony think she's worthy of a main event? I think that's the question. And so then that's, if that's, of course, that's just that in that scenario specifically. If Willow were to retain, do you hold off on Mercedes and Bayley until next year just so that they can be the first women to main event a pay-per-view? Oh, interesting. Yeah. Oh, you could do that. You do Willow versus Bayley and Bayley wins, and then you do, and then Mercedes continues to spiral. Can you imagine?
Bayley comes in from outside,
and won the title before Mercedes.
She flips
Oh, that
out.
would be fun.
That'd be actually awesome.
Wow, that, you know what? Kind of like that.
That would be a lot of fun.
Sorry, Mercedes, we're fantasy booking you.
Yeah, we just fantasy booked that meltdown. That would be amazing.
Just please give us the damn meltdown.
Let's go.
Crash says that I think it would need to be a really good thing to have developed the division sufficiently that feuds do not need to be over a title. It's a healthy sign in my book of progress. Which, of course, yes, and I think you can do that with TV, but can you do... I mean, Tony likes to book, in most cases, unless there's like a cage match or a Death Rider match, he likes to do title matches, men's title matches in his main event. Like, at this rate, the tag team match is going to main event a pay-per-view before women do. Because it'll be fun. Curryhead says, why does everybody want the Mercedes meltdown? I'm just curious. Because it would be fun. Mercedes is a phenomenal heel. She has been teasing it. We saw a little bit of it, of her reaction with her screaming, especially like she was losing other titles in other companies. She was like having meltdowns in the ring. She was screaming and shouting, and like we got the kind of the little bit of the tease in AEW when she was looking into the mirror and said that she was leaving and all that time. So I think, I personally, for me, I want to see the meltdown because I think it's going to be entertaining as hell, and I think that Mercedes will do a lot for her character. And if we're eventually getting a baby face turn from her, then that can kind of set that up. Like, let her have her meltdown, let her freak the hell out and be so angry, and then when she kind of comes back down, be like, well, what is it that's happening? Like, what am I not doing that these other women are doing? I'm being too cocky. I'm overlooking these people. Because that's kind of been Athena's story with why she hasn't won the Owen, is because she's too cocky. She thinks she can beat everybody because she's Athena. So maybe Mercedes and then maybe that's what leads Mercedes into a babyface turn. But I mean, I'm just spitballing. For me personally, I just think it would be super entertaining. And
Fun.
we've seen little teases, and I want it.
Yeah.
Do you and Maria asked, I don't think so, but do you think it's too late for Mercedes to have a meltdown?
I don't, because I think Mercedes can do anything she wants to, and if the meltdown storyline is where she went, I think she would kill it. I think if she wants to be more bossy and sort of take over and be a little more domineering than meltdown, that could work for her just as well.
Yeah.
She's obviously savvy and like experienced enough to do either. I'm with you. I think it would be a lot of fun. She's a great heel. She was always a great heel. There's plenty of baby faces for her to work with. Losing to Willow again would piss her off. I mean, especially like a baby face, it makes her more of a heel. Like it just.
Right. I mean, in her whole speech when she came out and interrupted Willow was how you're always there. I'm trying to do something and you're there and you win and you're always smiling. And so if Willow can beat her again, that might be enough to send her over the edge. But like, why can I not beat Willow? Like, what is so great about Willow that I can't defeat her? And that could send her into a meltdown. But I think they have to do it soon-ish, like this year. I think like they need to probably, which is why I keep going back to, if Willow retains, that could be what sets her into.
And then they could bring Bailey in to talk her down, maybe.
Right. Oh, could. Yeah, they could do that.
Be like, we had to pull out all the stops. We had to bring your best friend here to calm you down and talk you off the ledge.
Right. Cross says Mercedes,
and then you can fight each other.
We're just so totally confident in your ability to deliver a meltdown that it would be God tier. That's all. Yes. Oh, and C. Curry said the same thing. If she has a meltdown, she thinks Pamela Martinez or Bailey would be an AEW.
Yeah, I like the idea of them coming in to talk her down. Be like, my best friend had to come back. She had to leave her other promotion and come here to calm me the F down. So.
Right. It says, we got the meltdown tease before she went away. It will make her winning the AEW title next year more special. Right. So I think that maybe leads into perhaps she is a babyface when she wins the title.
She's going to be awesome whenever she wins it. I think
you could certainly have Mercedes as a heel winning, and we know that Tony likes his heel champions. But also a babyface Mercedes with the title, like that's like the heel is not working for me to get this title. I have to become a babyface. So maybe that's what gets we did get the tease. And so I think that's the thing, is she keeps teasing it and we want it. And I think it was supposed to happen sooner, and then obviously the stuff with Toni Storm happened. And so that kind of pushed things back. So now you kind of let her get back in, kind of reintegrate with the stuff, and now Willow is her nemesis. That's her arch rival. Everywhere she is, Willow's there. She was there at the Strong title. She's here. She beat her at New Year's Smash. She's gonna face her again at All In. If she loses at the biggest pay-per-view of the year to Willow, to me that seems like a surefire way to get Mercedes to have the meltdown that we've been waiting for. And so that's my theory anyway. Of course, Mercedes could win, and then maybe we don't get one until she loses that title too. Maybe we hold off till Mercedes eventually loses the women's title. Crash says she's still teasing it. She was doing the calm down motion to her with her hands in the ring. Yes, she was. All right. So Lauren says a non-title match is main evented 5 AEW pay-per-views. Okay, that is good to know. Crash said there's levels of meltdown. The sickos need a complete DEFCON 3 or 5 even. Please. I want a high level. Like, if we've been waiting this long, I need like at least a 3. Yeah. Ron says Mercedes doesn't win the title this year. They've wasted enough time already, and they need her to be part of the world title lineage in the worst way. Which I agree with, but also Willow. Like, I don't want her having a short title run. But you could have her have a 3 or 4 month title run. It's not like Willow's. I want to say it's not like Willow's not going to get it again, but the way they book the women, who knows?
Yeah, it's hard to know.
Maria asks if she turns babyface, does Bailey come in as a heel?
Maybe. I don't know though. Bailey's more of a face them. I mean, she did her heel time in WWE,
Heel
but it was in
Bayley is
WWE, so maybe it would be better in AEW.
I think if she does a heel here, she can put a lot more into it than what she was doing in WWE. Like a different version of a heel. Like heel Bayley was fun. I think if she comes and she's a baby face, like it's not going to be Hugger Bayley. Like I think that's long gone. It'll be a grown up version of a baby face, I think. But you could, because that would make their dynamic even more interesting if you have babyface Mercedes versus a heel Bayley instead of vice versa, and have it being a babyface Bayley and heel Mercedes. I like the idea of a babyface Mercedes versus a heel Bayley. I actually kind of like that more. I think that could be a lot more interesting. You could do some different kind of storytelling stuff with them. So I kind of like that. That's a good question, Maria. Fernando says Willow versus Mercedes can be a Rock versus Austin type of rivalry for the women. I think this is a feud that they can go back to, like they do with. You can cool it off with like they do with Hangman and Swerve, and then you can come back to it, cool it off a little bit, have them go on and do different things, and have them come back to it, which I think would be. So Willow beating her at All In, even if Mercedes does eventually beat her at some point this year, whether that's All Out or even World's End, where I think World's End would almost be more poetic because she beat her. I mean, granted, she didn't beat her at World's End, but she beat her on the last show of the year. Willow beat her on the New Year's Eve show. So having Mercedes rather beat Willow at the final pay-per-view of the year, I think could be fun. A good way to, that could be a good way to tell that story. And then you close out the year with Mercedes and open next year with Mercedes as the champion. I think could be really fun too. He said, Crash says DEFCON 1 seems to be the worst. Actually, give us DEFCON Ultimo Uno. I'll take it. Whatever is the worst, I want that.
Yeah, right.
Whatever number that is. Tekla and Willow are so strong that they can keep the title off Mercedes for even longer. I think the fans might have a meltdown if that happens. However, you're not wrong. Because Tekla is so good. And I think that a theory I keep seeing is that now that Kairi is a free agent, that Kairi and Tekla wrestle in AEW. Not meaning that that Kairi comes on behalf of Stardom. It's like, you have been trashing this company and I'm not going to stand for it, type of thing. And we get that as a feud. Because as we shall point out, Kairi has retained the services of one Barry Bloom as her agent. Barry Bloom is the agent for Kenny Omega for, I believe, Okada and some of the really big names in AEW who make a bunch of money. Kairi has put in her bio, now that she's gone from WWE officially, like she's cleared her non-compete, Barry's email address is in her bio. So she's working with a big gun. And somebody made the point yesterday, I think it was, that Barry Bloom clients don't work for Marigold. And because people thought of her, obviously her closeness with Rossi, that maybe she does go to Marigold, but they were like, I don't think
get an agent like that.
That's not where a Barry Bloom client goes.
Correct.
So,
yeah.
Then that doesn't necessarily mean she signs with AEW, but maybe she gets if she.
You don't get an agent like that unless you want to get paid.
Right. So even if she stays a free agent technically, or she goes to Stardom but gets paid well, much like Mercedes, I'm sure gets paid very well when she goes to Stardom and when she's gone to New Japan Strong, and she gets paid, and Kairi can command a lot of money, and she should. Laurent says Mercedes and Willow could be Charlotte and Sasha, with Willow ultimately going over and getting a proper title reign. I'll accept that.
It's okay with me.
Fernando says, I don't remember if I've already asked this question a few weeks ago. Yes, you did ask if I could see Charlotte or Becky leaving, and I said no, because I think Becky is gonna go where Seth is at.
Yeah,
because Seth is never leaving. He's a corporate shill for WWE. He will be there forever.
100%.
They travel with their kid a lot. And I think it obviously would be a lot easier if they're traveling in the same company versus her traveling with AEW with their child, versus Seth traveling and trying to travel. And Seth is trying to be with their, I think parenting wise, it may be easier for her. So I think Becky stays with
Same.
with him.
And Charlotte never.
Charlotte has never wrestled anywhere but WWE. She's like Randy Orton.
She's a sports entertainer. She's not a wrestler.
Yeah, she doesn't know wrestling outside of the WWE, how they wrestle and how they entertain.
She's just a sports entertainer. Some people are both. Some people are one or the other.
Right, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, I'm not saying that in a detrimental way. But that is exactly what she is.
Like Randy Orton, there's no way. He only teased going to AEW because he wanted to leverage more money, which a smart wrestler does. That's very
of course.
smart.
You use every angle so you get your paycheck.
That man's not going to AEW because he cannot hang with the type of talent that is because he knows the WWE style of wrestling, and he's almost, if he's not 50, he's close to it. He's not going anywhere, and I feel like Charlotte is much of the same way. I think Charlotte's very happy for the people who leave. I think that she's just, for her and what she does, she is a sports entertainer. She's still, and her goal is to break her dad's record. She wants to be a 17-time champion, and I think that is her goal eventually. And she's even said like tagging with Alexa Bliss the last year is the happiest she's ever been in her career.
Oh, there you go.
And she's like, she loves what she's doing now, and she loves working with Alexa, and that's made her, because she was struggling with injury, and then obviously she had there was the stuff with Andrade. There was even when she was told she was pregnant and she wasn't because of the false test, the wrong information. So she's been through a ton the last few years, and she's finally, it sounds like she's in a place where she's very happy where she's at with what she's doing. So I don't see either one of them leaving. I think they're both happy with what they're doing and with where they're at. And so I don't foresee either one of them leaving. Says, totally agree with the president of Stardom gets Kyrie to face Tekla at Wrestle Dream. Yeah, and I'm wondering if that's why the Grand Prix tournament, is that over? So is she not? Because I know Julia was there. So for those of you who do watch Stardom, is that tournament done? And also, are they defending their Artist of Stardom championships anytime soon? That anybody, or are they? Oh, maybe that's what they do at Wrestle Dream. I mean, obviously you could do Tekla, but if they still have the Artist of Stardom titles, do they defend those at Wrestle Dream?
Oh, I don't know.
Wonder. So maybe you guys that watch New Japan Stardom could weigh in. We would appreciate your perspective. Crash says someone needs to check on Stephen Conway this week. I hear he's still crunching the numbers. Convinced Aaron Wolf can pull off a G1 victory. Rabbit out of the hat. Rest in power, brother. I have not watched. I watched last night, not the show that happened this morning. I haven't seen that yet. But there's some really interesting things they've got going on with who's at the top of leaderboards in both blocks. Having Zach win only 3 matches thus far. I mean, I haven't watched today's, but that was insane. You were having him lose them. I know it's because it's House of Torture, but having Zack Sabre Jr. lose to Ren Narita is insane. I know what we're doing, but also stop it. So I'm really, there's lots of things. It's down to 3 in that group. So when I watched last night, I think it was down to Gabe. I was just thinking about that earlier. It was down to, because is it Gabe and Takeshita and Callum in one, and then the other was, why did I just blank? I just listened to this last night because I got caught up last night. And we're still doing the thing of where we're watching. Okay, Gabe is in is in the other group, in group B. Okay, that's right. Yeah. So there's 3. I know Gabe was in the top 3. There was 3 people tied at 10, and then on the other block, there was 2 people. Wait, is that the one that Takeshita is in first, and then who was it that was in second? I was really surprised. I was like, wait, they're in second place because of a tiebreaker match. And now I was surprised. It wasn't Shingo. Shingo, I think, is... Now I can't remember. Crash says that group is wide open. There's 3 but 10 and a bunch on 8. Yeah. It's it's crazy
Nice.
what they've been doing over there. Yeah, I don't know if Aaron Wolf is mathematically in this. Maybe at this point, because I haven't watched. I don't know if he's been mathematically eliminated. I know Goto got mathematically eliminated like 2 nights ago, and he had a really great match with Takeshita, and he had a really great match with Shingo. And please, and still, if you have not gone to see Yuto Ice versus Tsuji from July 29th, please go watch it because it was insane. Crash said, I don't want to spoil it. Yes, until last night it was a relatively open group in Group A, like 5, and now it's the 3. Okay, I'm planning to get caught up with that one tonight. As we're coming down to like the last few shows, like we're almost done.
Oh, there we go.
And then Kyle was actually talking about it. Kyle Fletcher was asking everybody yesterday what he said he was getting caught up on the G1 and was asking people their favorite G1 matches. And he said that, I forget what he said. He's like, oh, it might be this one because Takeshita lost. Oh my God. So Chris Charlton's the 280 plus lap. I think so. That's what Chris Charlton said. There were 278 in total. Please just go. I have never seen a match like that before in my life, and definitely not. It's crazy. Yes, Chris is a real sicko counting them because there were constant ones. Okay, so Laurent says the 5-star ends the week before All In, according to Wikipedia, on August the 23rd. So is that why? So I know Tekla's not in the GP, so maybe she's in. Maybe she's just. Maybe they're giving her a little bit of a breather.
Yeah, maybe.
Because she was wrestling a lot. But I'm very curious to see if they do Wrestle Dream. But then they'd have to hold them till October, and I don't know what Stardom's schedule looks like because obviously All Out is September 26th, so I don't know when. And when is Wrestle Dream? I know it's September. October.
I don't know unfortunately, the dates in my head are all work shit.
I get it. Let's see. It's loading now. Okay, it's I was close. I was thinking October 18th. It's October 17th. Oh, and it's in Orlando. Interesting. Who are you to doubt Ren Narita? He's a jam up guy. Sure he is. Oh, man. Yeah, so it'll be. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see if. But I really just want Tekla versus Kyra at Wrestle Dream. Even though Inoki was not booking women's wrestling, that seems like a really good that is a show to honor Inoki, even though Inoki was not booking women.
Yeah, right.
But Tony, you could do the opposite. You could book women in the main event, do something Inoki would have never done.
Something that would really shock Inoki-san.
Right. Crash said Jim Valley's money is on Ren. He said so yesterday.
Interesting.
G1 winner Ren Narita. That is a sentence I never thought I would say. All right. I guess stranger things have happened. And if they want to change things up over there, I guess you could do that. Maybe. I know the Japanese fans would have a completely different reaction than Western fans because I know they see House of Torture in a bit of a different way than we do. That would be really interesting if that's the path that they go down. All right. I believe we have covered all of our topics. I do want to say quickly, I am still working on the AEW Hills article. Things keep changing. There was a development last week, and I was working on the week before, and then there was a development on Friday, and I've been getting some feedback. And granted, I am talking to a small portion of women compared to how many members there are. However, a lot of the members are saying similar things. But it is very clear that Hills members love Hills. They feel unheard. They feel like they're forgotten. Even with some of the new things that are going to be implemented, There's some thoughts on that, which I'm going through and will be writing about. But I am still working on that article. It is taking a bit longer just because I've had some IRL things. And then, as I said, the story keeps kind of changing a little, not changing, but there's been new developments. And so that's adding to what I've been working on. But the Hills article is still coming. I don't have a deadline on when that will be out, but I am still working on it and still talking in touch with quite a few members, and trying to get their feelings out, and hopefully somebody can hear them, and hope, that's all I'm trying to do is just let them be heard. So I am still working on that, and I will hopefully get that up soon-ish. We'll see how that goes. Crash says Jim was looking at it from building up a heel perspective. I'll see his rationale, but keeping my beans for Oleg. That match with Oleg and Suji the other night was crazy. Yeah. Do we get a three-way with All In with Maya, Shida, and Stat? Sure, kind of seems like they're headed that way. I don't know if I like it, and I'm also concerned that Maya is going to drop it. I wouldn't like her being a transitional champion.
That wouldn't be so great.
I don't like that if that's where they're doing with it. But I do really enjoy Hill Shida. Her character work is a bit better than her in-ring work has been lately. And that's not to say she does bad, because she does not bad by any means, but she's not at the level she was. But I think her character work is kind of making up for that. Her character work's been a ton of fun. And Emmy Sakura wrestled Viva Van on ROH, and Emmy hasn't wrestled in a little bit, and they were talking about how aggressive Emmy was, and then they reminded us that Shida is the disciple of Emmy. Emmy trained her, and so now we're seeing some parallels. Bring in Emmy to work with Shida, Tony Khan. Please find a way. Okay, that's a good. Okay. Laurent says he thinks that they could do a 4-way, and with Persephone added, and that she will probably wait. She as in Maya or she as in Persephone? We'll go over. Because then you could have 2 belts, Persephone. But I'm sort of paying attention to CMLL. Are they teasing having Thunder Rosa take the title off of Persephone in CMLL? I know Tessa is involved, because I know Tessa teamed with Thunder Rosa the other night.
Persephone.
Okay, so Persephone is who I love Maya. I freaking love Persephone. I've been talking about her forever. I will take Persephone as the champion any day. And again, that's not to take anything away from Maya.
No,
I think
of course.
She's great. But Persephone needs to start picking up some wins. Yeah, I believe so. I know there was some confusion over whether Asuka was still with WWE, and then I think I'm trying to remember. I didn't see her blog, but from my understanding, Asuka was something happened in real life that she needed to deal with personally and needed to take time away from WWE, and they granted her request. And she left it kind of open-ended. She was like, you never know when I'm going to pop up, or where I'm going to pop up. And so I think she's still under WWE contract, from my understanding, but it's never been super clear exactly what's going on there. Crash says Thunder Rosa and Persephone both have titles, but which I think I do know that, because Thunder Rosa had that title with her on Friday, but I thought that they also had her in the picture for Persephone's title as well. But maybe I was misunderstanding, because again, I don't watch CMLL regularly. I do try to keep up with what's going on. So Crash is not sure why Persephone would want to go after Thunder Rosa's title, since she's already CMLL. No, I thought Thunder Rosa was going after Persephone's title, is what I was asking, if that's what they were doing. Yes, there has been some controversy about the way Persephone has been booked, and Persephone's a CMLL champion, but has been taking a lot of L's in AEW, and they're concerned that that's going to push her to WWE. But I, again, caution you to please look at how they book the women and how they are currently being booked. And while AEW definitely has its faults the way they book women, please just look at how they've booked Stephanie and how they've booked Julia specifically. and some of the other women over. Look at Blake. Blake still has not wrestled a match. She's still not doing anything. She's over here talking about how she's really hyped for the new entrance she's going to be getting because it sounds like Triple H is making her change her entrance. But she doesn't know when that's going to happen because she doesn't know when she's going to be. They don't know what they're doing with her. They're not even booking Jordan Grace. So I know that they promise lots of things and they play on that. This was your dream as a child. Well, dreams can change. And sometimes maybe go talk to Motor City about their experience.
Yeah, right.
And then when Xavier and Kofi get there, maybe ask them about their experience too, just to get perspectives from other places. Crash said, yeah, is not sure herself. Seemed like Persephone was starting it. She kept saying Thunder Rosa's title was hers. Okay, so yeah, maybe that's why I had some confusion on what they were doing there. Yeah, WWE has so many NXT call-ups on the women's side that they are doing absolutely nothing with. This is correct. Iran is right. WWE would not dare strip Chelsea of her title after not doing that to Rhea. Well, she's hurt. She's got a broken orbital bone, so I'm thinking it's going to get vacated probably, and they're just going to start all over again. I guess it depends on how long Chelsea's going to be out because they kept it on Rhea, not knowing, they probably should have took it off of Rhea right then and there, and they didn't. So perhaps with whatever Chelsea's, you could do Chelsea could be a lot of fun. You could make her wear a pirate patch and have her come out with her title, not defend it. But she could do a lot of character stuff. So maybe they don't. Because they don't really do interim titles there, and then look how it's played out for them. So I'm very curious. I think it just depends on how long Chelsea Green's supposed to be out. Yes, Pirate Pac. Pirate Pac was fun. I was just watching that on Tubi a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh man, what a fun time that was. Also, I forgot until I was watching Tubi the other night about how they used to have that camera on the turnbuckle. And they used to get the really cool shots. And I was like, oh yeah, that was the thing they did for a while, and that was cool. And then it got in the way. But you can't have cameras there when you're going to hide screwdrivers in them, Kyle Fletcher.
Probably.
All right. So I think we are done for real here. Phantom of the Opera mask. Chelsea would definitely do that. Chelsea could get away with it.
That's fun.
Did Danhausen curse that title? But he probably did. Because Liv did try to get him to curse Io. Maybe he misunderstood.
Maybe it backfired.
And he cursed the wrong title. Instead of cursing Io, he cursed Rhea. He cursed Rhea, and maybe he just cursed the title in general, and that's what's wrong. That makes so much sense. It's all Danhausen. He cursed the wrong person.
All Danhausen's fault.
But he has those human monies that he won on a pole match, which I did miss. When I heard that match was not good, but then I don't know why you would expect a human monies on a pole match to be a 5-star match. You are welcome.
Thank you for being here.
And thank you for the new people who have found us. We hope that you come back. We hope you didn't scare you off.
We appreciate all of you guys.
Yes.
All right. So we will be back next Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern, and we appreciate you guys being here.
We do.